Actually, I'm not even gonna get to that yet, because first we have to preview the matches, and I'm gonna do that right now. So this week we'll be casting week 3 and week 4. From week 3 we only have one game, that's between Proboa and Dark Matter. And then week 4 we have Genji versus Sequence, Proboa versus Snowfruit, Mekami versus Arctimes, game 1 and 3, and Diarrhea Terran, game 3 against Stardom. So we have a fair amount to cover, but so hopefully you have time for all of these. If not, we can always get back to them later.
Yes, indeed. We'll just see. I mean, I would say I have at least 2.5 to 3 hours, and maybe more, depends.
Perfect. All right, so that's about the same amount of availability I have. So let's see how far we get through it. So let's get right into it. Game 1. Let me hold this up real quick. Nope, not IC Cup map pack. The autopilot is real.
Definitely just misread your little "I am now a Twitch affiliate" thing.
What'd you think it said?
It says "Give me your pennies." I read something slightly different. I was
Maybe I
like,
should.
"What the fuck did he just type?" And then I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, that makes a hell of a lot more sense."
Maybe I should change it. Oh shit. Okay, so game name CPL, password CPL is up. Yeah, so this is Probo versus Dark Matter. I would say two of the stronger players in the league for sure. Dark Matter right now is sitting at around a 40% win rate at C minus, and we have Proboa. He was apparently making a strong come up, according to Phasers, one of my good friends and the coach. He's saying that Proboa is shoring up his macro. Before that, he was, the typical kind of all-in-ish. Uh, yeah, can't jealous stardom.
Yeah. By the way, Snowy Cutie, who is Snowfruit, maybe I don't know. Either way, he says he cannot hear you.
Oh shit. What?
I don't know if that applies to everybody else, but that appears to apply to him.
What? What?
No, everyone's saying they can't hear you.
They can't hear me.
I don't know if it's they can't hear you at all or if they can't hear you well, but they definitely are not happy.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll restart that shit. Let me make myself a little bit louder. Can you guys hear me now?
I'm guessing that'll help quite a bit.
Waiting for feedback. Maybe they can't hear me. Ask if they can hear me or not. That would suck. But apparently my
DNH says, "Damn it, your stream is so late." Fosty Poo says, "Good, it's good."
sweet. Well, DNH, like, listen, man. You know what? Okay.
You know what?
That's it.
You
That's
can move different location where the time is different, and then it wouldn't be so late.
true.
That's what a truly dedicated viewer would do.
Faust, I see everything you're saying, dog. Chill. Talking all that shit. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit better now. So back to what I was saying earlier, Dark Matter versus Proboa. Proboa is on the come up. He is actually a C max player. I guess in the past, I mean, getting to C, you can cheese your way to C, but apparently now he's becoming a more macro-oriented player thanks to the macro bot known as Phasers. So we'll see how this game goes. I'm actually really excited for it. You ready?
Let's do it. Oh, that countdown. Always a good sound.
Mm-hmm. All right, in the top right, we have the Red Terran, aka Dark Matter. And in the bottom left, we have the Teal Protoss Proboa.
I was wondering if you were waiting for me, but I figured since you have the screen, I was like, I'll just let you do it.
True, true. I guess I'll do it from now on. Now we have that covered. Okay, so yeah, both players spawning cross map on this map. I've always thought that this map was slightly favored to Terran if you spawn horizontally from Protoss, because the fact that they can do the slow push and take a fourth base relatively safely. And
yeah,
push.
that's an annoying place to play against Terran from.
Horizontally, and I think that diagonally and vertically, it's really not that bad for either race. I think it's a lot more balanced, and the long rush distance, I feel like it doesn't really help or hurt either player. I would say that, well, maybe Proboa because he has more of an affinity to do aggressive builds, but pretty much we can say that I think that FD would be weaker on this map. There's really not much of a need to go 2-gate robo before Nexus or something like that.
Yeah, and especially considering there's the bridges too, that can, at the very least buy you a little more time for defense. So yeah, that also helps.
Absolutely. So I think, yeah, Proboa did a pylon scout. I don't really think that that's absolutely necessary on this map. Um, you know, like there's really not much that Terran can do besides BBS that really justifies having a quick scout. And if I was gonna pylon scout, I would probably scout horizontally to make sure that they're not next to me in that annoying position that we talked about.
Yeah, indeed. And one thing too about this map, I don't know how it is for other people, but I've always found this map, especially I guess being used to so many games on Fighting Spirit, it's you have to pay a lot more attention to how you defend vultures and stuff like this on this map because your third is a lot more exposed and there's multiple pathways into every base. So you just have to be a lot more attentive to dragoon positioning and pylon walls and stuff like that.
Absolutely, and because of the fact that there's more or less three possible ways to get into your natural, or at least into the ground next to your natural, you know, through the going around through the low ground base, going through the high ground, and going through the bridges. You know, there's a lot of openings that can be abused by vultures. And Dark Matter, idle SCV scouting for a little bit. He's probably worried about the probe in his main base. Both players sporting 300 APM, so I don't know why there's idle SCVs, but yeah, Evil Eye brought up two good points actually. First of all, that if he scouted first, he could have done the gas steal, which it would be great, and especially since he scouted the closer position, he would have greater chance for an aggressive build than if than cross positions, which it is now. And the second thing he says, maybe that's how they do it in Peru, which I mentioned this maybe too often, but I always think like how brutal it must have been to play on US East and be in the like, you know, PE-1 channel and like, you know, like, yo, go games like juega, and then you always get it's like cheese every day. So like I'm sure that people are extremely paranoid when they're Peruvian and play against other Peruvians.
On US East with the latency delay would be horrible in the first place. Like, at least if I'm gonna have to play against something like that, I'd like to be able to micro without having to wait a second for a response.
And one thing we do see is actually Proboa is going for 2 gates before Nexus, so he is playing kind of safe. And this actually this is 10-15.
Dark Matter?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Dark Matter. He scouted cross map. I guess he was maybe worried. Can you even build in the center of this map? I don't.
Nah, not in much of the area. Not in most of it.
So I don't know why he went cross.
Maybe because of the probe timing.
He went to the bottom bait. The probe timing like threw him off, and he thought it was weird. And you said he went 10-15.
It looks
like he also threw down Nexus.
Yeah, his gate finished at 19, so that's definitely
kind of an interesting build then.
Definitely wasn't 21. Maybe this is just extra safe.
Yeah, Dark Matter says it's 2-gate Goon before Nexus. That's honestly not a build I'm familiar with, but maybe it is a quote-unquote thing.
Yeah, I feel like...
I don't remember ever hearing about that, though, or using it.
I feel like it might be kind of similar to your 21 Nexus build, just like a safer variant of it, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have... I guess I'd have to do it and see what kind of timings you get the Dragoons out at. You know, relative to FT timing and other relevant timings.
Yeah. One thing I also noticed is that Dark Matter made a Vulture before adding the Machine Shop, and I don't really I can't speak about the pros and cons of this choice, but it's an interesting choice.
Oh, the Vulture slips in!
Oh, almost. Oh no! Yes, got him.
He does see the gates though, but he doesn't necessarily see if there's any other tech going on. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be fast arbs, robo, a lot of gateways. No idea yet.
And one thing that should be noted is that despite going 10-15 gate, Proboa did get his Nexus up earlier, and they're at the same amount of peons right now. Dark Matter just now landing his command center, so he might be...
I wasn't even paying attention to that. It looks like he made a Vulture first, didn't get mines, and then sort of did a Siege Expand, so it's like Siege Expand with a Vulture?
Yeah. I mean...
and a super fast Armory. Wow, his Armory is done right now.
Wow, that's crazy, actually. So it's interesting to see what's
going to come out of this. I wonder if he's worried about Reaver, and he's going to make a Goliath or two. If he doesn't, I don't know what the idea is behind that.
No, I definitely agree, but he is getting +1. He just started.
Yeah, he did. About 2011, 2012, when we were getting those Zhongbi versus Fantasy OSLs. I know that was kind of popular because there was this tendency to go 1-gate Reaver, and I think Fantasy was playing around with some much faster armories to get a Goliath or two out to help defend that. but also 2 random pylons. What? Oh, he's
3.
pyloning off his that way. Okay,
That's very
that's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but it's definitely
Yeah,
interesting. I don't think he needs
I
3
guess he could do
pylons.
that. Yeah, I think what he wants is just to not have to worry about vultures coming in from that
Hmm.
pathway.
And I'm actually really
From
liking, yeah, I'm liking this goon layout from him as well. You know, he has goons on the high ground, goons by the bridges. He has full visibility of all entranceways. So, and this is probably might be a little bit paranoid after that first vulture got in so quickly. He might be thinking that there might be something, some vault aggression coming his way. So he covered all possible
Yeah, and
avenues.
I guess with that fourth base entrance pylon off, then yeah, with the goons there, you know, he's got the only 2 entrances to worry about. I was going to say at first I was like, those goons at the bridges seem kind of far back from like the bottom of the natural,
Hmm.
but since vultures can't come in from that low route,
Yep.
it's fine, I suppose. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's kind of a interesting way of playing the early game here.
And we're going for a third Nexus here. I bet this observer is going to reach the main and be happy to see that there's no timing push coming his way. And at the same time, Dark Matter is actually getting his third command center as well. So we're gearing up for a long macro game here, I think.
And 3 vultures are going to go ahead and head out onto the map. They're going to go over to the 4th base. I'm assuming he's going to have mines at this point. No, he's actually only about halfway to mines.
Hmm.
At some point, we'll start laying some mines on the map, but not quite yet. And the observer has taken a break.
Yeah, and this would be a perfect time to get in. Also, no turrets made by Dark Matter, feeling extremely safe here. Good micro on the vultures, pulls
Who
the
is
back.
also getting
Go ahead.
starport, a two-fact starport.
With a command center. We're just getting the whole shebang at the same time, you know.
It's gonna have some super fast upgrades and some super fast vessels, but a very relatively small army at any given point.
Oh no, we got some idle probes in the third base of Probo. I hate when this happens.
Yeah,
This happened to me
base.
just today with 12 probes. It was absolutely terrible. And I wonder how long
I,
it's gonna
you know,
take.
I still haven't figured out why that happens. It has something to do with when you send probes to mine in Fog of War.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they don't start mining, but sometimes they do, and I have not figured out the rhyme or reason. There's probably a really obvious reason, but
Well,
I have never figured it out.
well, the reason is if the pylon, I'm sorry, the mineral is outside the field of vision of the Nexus, then they're not gonna start mining it. But if it's within the field of vision of the Nexus, they will start mining it. You can experiment with that by taking 6 probes and sending them to a Nexus that is building, and you know, send 1 probe, shift deselect to each mineral, and you'll see that the ones that are in the vision of the building Nexus, they're gonna start mining, and the ones that aren't are not gonna mine. And he still has 2 that are idle in there, so that's gonna hurt him a little bit, economically speaking. And he's actually fallen behind a little bit on the SCV count, but nothing drastic.
Putting up a ton of gateways though. He's up to about 7 now.
And I'm really not liking his choice of not sending the observer into the base. And he actually has already observer speed as well, so he could have easily gotten into the base, and there's plenty of open space for him to still do that if you go through the top base. You always need to know how many factories the Terran has in order to make your gateway count appropriately. But I guess
Yeah, and while he is sitting out over the bridges right now, I still don't like this. I mean, maybe he has another obs. He just hasn't sent it out, but he's got no idea now. I mean, Terran could be moving out on the map and setting up anywhere, and you just generally don't want to cede free position to Terran on the map at any time.
yeah, and Probo is going for his 4th base after seeing the 3rd base.
Yep, and he's going to move out with his army, but there's also a dropship coming down to the bottom right-hand side, so that may shut down that... Oh, it's actually not, the base isn't even making. He does see it with the mine, though. Of course.
I wonder where these 2 sea tanks are going to go now. I wonder to see if the probe saw it, actually. And these Dragoons have moved out on the map, but they're not going to be really able to do anything, I don't think. Even without the mines at the front, with just the walls with the depot and the engineering bay, and the siege tanks here are just going to prevent it altogether. So,
and bridges.
Yeah.
If you had 2 groups of zealots there with it, I would say that could be pretty scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe even 1. But as it stands now, and this dropship at the bottom is like taking its time. He's like, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
We're going to drop at the making 4th. I don't think it'll do too much, though. That base is far enough along. It shouldn't force a cancel.
No, I don't think so either. But if he starts bringing in these vultures, and if they have mines, that might actually force a cancel, because it would take a while for the Dragoons to... Actually, well, there's an army of zealots coming this way now, so...
Yeah, he could send a few zealots, I think, and clear them out with those guys running down there.
Wow, alright, so 581. Each double shot takes out about 150, 140 damage to the Nexus, so even getting 2 or 3 shots off on the Nexus weakened it tremendously. I feel like this is definitely going to be a hot point that Probo is going to have to try to keep in mind for
Yeah, if he
future
comes
drops.
back and can get it, that'll be worth it. As it is, I don't know if it's worth it yet, but if he can come back and snipe it, that'll definitely be a nice little dropship utilization because he hasn't lost the dropship.
With 450 health, and assuming that there's not going to be any shields, it's only going to take 3 or 4 volleys from 2 tanks to take out that Nexus, which is a steal at this point. And one thing I want to know is like both players really just kind of almost blindly went for the macro game. Neither player played very safe, you know.
Yeah.
Dark Matter didn't make any turrets.
I have to highlight. Probu was just running into that base to clear everything out with his entire army, which is something that, all else equal, is generally something you want to avoid.
Absolutely.
Because it takes your army a long time to get in and out of those bases. So if you just sit in that base with your whole army, you give Terran this free opportunity if he wants to like reposition, where he knows, you know, you're not going to be able to do anything, and then he can just start setting up and working his way into a nice position.
Exactly, and Dark Matter is doing something similar to that. He's taking his 4th base at that time, knowing that the army of Probo is far away, can't do anything about it. And the other option, as you said as well, is of course to push when the army is going to be out there. All you have to do is lay mines behind this double bridge, making the army pretty much trapped, have to clear mines or take a lot of damage, and then push with the siege tanks. And despite having 3 speed observers with him, the Dragoons eat a mine here. I don't think you need to fly around with 3 observers. I feel like he could space them out a little bit better, especially now that he knows that dropship is in play. I would try to keep them a little bit spaced out, see if he can catch it on the mini-map.
Yeah, a few on the map and maybe 1 on each hotkey of Dragoons or something like that usually works out pretty nicely most of the time.
And the siege tank kind of steadily growing, and the upgrades are really impressive from Dark Matter. I'm imagining that 201 just finished. He needs to start them soon. His SCV was right there building a depot right now. He missed the opportunity, but maybe it's because he's a little bit low on gas right now, and then he threw down 2 extra factories. Doesn't have a vessel yet either. And one thing that I'm going to pause here for a second for, before he landed this command center here, I would have liked to see him take this 3rd gas, because 3 gas is so crucial for Terran. He could have started building it in preparation for the command center landing, bring the siege tanks with it, and then start mining the gas as soon as the command center finishes. That would have given him maybe the necessary gas to have his first vessel out, to have the +3/+2 coming, the EMP, and but he hasn't even started the gas, so he's going to be delayed on all 3 of those things. And we see another dropship coming in. This time it's only 2 injured vultures, but making good use of them. Denying mining at this base, and again we see Probo sending the entirety of his army back, and it's gonna probably partially get trapped by his own
His zealots will get through though and clean up the vultures.
Yeah, but he literally sent everything that he had. Okay, he maybe left 1 group still out, but this is again a big overreaction, big mistake. You don't need, you know, 100 supply of Protoss army to clear out 1 drop. But the dropship doesn't run away all the way, and the dropship does get picked off. So Dark Matter finally just finished his 3rd gas. Hopefully he starts mining it soon. He has +3 on the way, no +2 armor yet. And yeah, both players are just really buckling down for a solid macro game here. See 11 gateways from Probo. I feel like he can afford a few more at this point.
Yeah, right now is the point where if you start getting down a few more, then when Terran pushes out, you'll have a whole boatload and you can flood from both mains, which makes things way harder for Terran.
Especially,
like, I know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that yeah, now that he's maxed out is exactly when he should be adding gateways. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I know as Terran, like, you know, it's one thing if like units can only come out of one side, because if there's no gateways, you can just push the base, you know, mine the one side and know that things will be fine. But if there's gateways in both mains, if you're pushing it another one, there can be units making out and they can go attack other places, or they can sandwich you from both sides, and it's just way more stressful.
So we see Probo trying to come in through this depot wall here, and he does manage to take down one of the walls. There was no siege tanks left here because it looks like Dark Matter was getting ready to push out. I would have left like 1 siege tank. You know, I mean, people, especially newer players, often make the mistake of leaving like 3 siege tanks on an expansion, which is too many. But leaving just 1 would have been fine, I think. And another good option that would have done before making this depot well is laying a bunch of mines here and on the path to this place, like up on this high ground, up where this mineral only lives. Just lay a bunch of mines. That'll either slow down the Protoss and give you forward notice of him coming, or it'll do damage. It's a win-win, I think.
Yeah. It was interesting. I mean, he didn't throw away too much there, but it was interesting, honestly, that he even really tried to attack there. I mean, that was, you know, there were tanks there. There was a solid, ridiculously solid, almost double wall of buildings. You know, it's just not an attack that's going to be effective. I would have maybe, I don't know, tried to come across the bridges and be sieged up, pulled back or something, but there's probably not really a good avenue right now to attack outside of a recall.
Yeah, and another thing that what it did do is it slowed down the push by a little bit. But one thing I want to notice is that Probo's obs position. Like we talked about, he should spread his obs out, and he actually did that later on. Now he has one at the gas at 3 o'clock, one kind of in between that and the bridges, and then another one that is on the high ground. But if we look at just Probo's vision, you can see that he doesn't see the bridge. He doesn't see when the army is moving out. He sees it like a little bit after. And I think these obs are actually double upgraded now that I look at it. So maybe he does have better coverage than I thought he did. But you don't lose anything from seeing the army, the siege tanks unsiege and actually start moving out. That lets you get into position a little bit faster, in my opinion. But now he should see the mines coming here. The siege tanks are moving out. And his army is actually very much out of position. He's going to roll in with the Dragoons anyway. And this is a big mistake, I think. Yeah.
He's kind of trying to back up. Now it looks like he's coming in here all right, although his Zealots are a little bit more clumped up than we'd like to see. However, there are no more Zealots left, and some of these tanks are just kind of exposed in front of the bridges. So if he backs off here, I think this will be an okay trade, but he needs to back off probably right about now.
Yeah, the Vultures got locked in the base because of the siege tank positioning there. A little bit unfortunate for Dark Matter, but you have to be really careful.
But he's pushing the issue. Now he's going to get really inefficient.
And
I will admit, though, that is such an easy thing to do. Like, an engagement feels like it's sort of going well, and then you overstay your welcome by almost like 1 or 2 tank volleys too many, and all of a sudden it goes from being a solid engagement to, oh, shit, I lost my entire army.
Yeah, and on top of that, and my rule of thumb is when I lose all my Zealots, I reassess at that moment. You know, like, how many siege tanks does he have left? How many vultures does he have left? Are there mines on the ground? Should I push the issue? Because once the Zealots are gone, that's when it's over. Here are the Arbiters that Evil I was talking about, and the flock of observers that are with them. So they don't have energy yet. They just popped out a little bit late. Well, actually a bit late. I mean, but he delayed them in favor of macro. So I would back off right here.
Again, he's forcing the issue a little bit. He might kill all these tanks, but it's going to cost him most of his Dragoons, which is usually not what you want as Protoss.
Oh, and we got a supporting line, conga line of Zealots.
We got a reinforcement, is it?
Yeah. But both of them are reinforcing pretty well here, actually. The next macro rounds made it here very quickly. And, I mean, I would say that trade came out pretty even in the end. I mean, he didn't lose all of his Dragoons. Actually, I guess he kind of did now, but there's enough siege tanks here. I wonder what Dark Matter is going to do. Probo macroing really well, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's doing a nice job macroing, that's for sure. He might just be able to macro over this, especially since there's no more mines down here in front of this. We'll see how he fights this. A lot of Zealots running in.
Oh man,
Everything
no detection.
Is unsieged.
No detection. That's the issue here.
I'll lose this whole army. Shit.
Oh, stasis gets dropped. Yeah, now is definitely swung into Probo's favor here, but good bit of macro from Proboy here. He's definitely pumping out of all these gateways very well. You see his supply dipping below Terrans and then rising above relatively quickly, but he's actually kind of broke. I mean, with 60 probes, I feel like that's like 10 too few, whereas Dark Matter was 79. That might be like 5 to 10 too many.
Yeah, it's always hard to say. I get somewhere between 60 and 70 usually seems to be about the right number for this matchup.
But that's something that we should consider, though, looking at the supplies between Protoss and Terran, because actually the army difference is closer to 20. It's 20 greater for Proboa because, you know, he has 10 fewer workers, whereas Dark Matter has 10 more. So right now, Proboa still has a greater army supply than Dark Matter does. And we're going to go for another push, but I feel like he's kind of entrenched here, and this was kind of sloppy here. I think he didn't hotkey this group over here, or maybe didn't move it, didn't use it properly, and that was pretty much a donation. One that he can't really afford with his current SCV probe count. And oh no, what happened to this? What happened to this CC? It's not being made. The SCV died? I think the SCV died here.
I'm not sure.
So this is the logical expansion path, I believe, for Dark Matter. I mean, it's definitely ideal for trying to take out Proboa's bottom right bases. I feel like Proboa should be trying to expand along the left side at this point as well, and definitely increasing his probe count, because leaving this much area for Terran, I mean, Terran's eventually going to get that ball and start pushing. But
The one thing I will say though for him is he does have so many bases that 60 probes spread out amongst that many bases is going to be mining pretty darn efficiently. It's a lot different than having 60 probes on 3 bases.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. But as Evil Eye pointed out, pretty weak upgrades for Proboa, but even Dark Matter himself, he kind of stopped upgrading armor. We all know how strong 3-3 mech can be, so it's kind of unfortunate that he stopped considering the amount of bank that he has as well. He has 4,500 minerals in the bank, which is kind of the strength of Terran and 79 SCVs. Getting a little adventurous here with these siege tanks. I don't think he scanned ahead, which is something that you always want to do when you're trying to move forward with your tanks, and he eats a big stasis for it. But now again, it's going to be almost pure. No, here comes the reinforcing zealots. Very nicely done. Yes, very nicely done by Proboy here, and another group of dragoon zealot coming in, and this actually might get cleaned up.
Yeah, we'll see. One thing I'm noticing is Dark Matter tends to keep a lot of tanks unsieged, and in some situations that's good, but I can't tell if that's always really working out for him or not.
No, I don't think it worked out in this situation. There was not that many zealots, even with the reinforcements. I would say maybe like 8 came and got to the siege tanks. If he was sieged up ahead of time, I'm sure it would have been fine. I don't think the unsieged tanks did much to stop these zealots. And I like this. You can notice that Probo is spreading the zealots to each tank.
Yeah, I've seen some really nice stuff so far from Probo, and just in general, his macro has been very impressive, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's spending pretty much every mineral that he gets, and he's staying broke the whole time, which is, it looks scary from my position, but that's because of constant engagements, He's constantly cutting down the siege tank count, and Dark Matter's tank count is constantly being pushed down, 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 and this command center gets taken out down here. We're at least forced to lift.
Yeah, and that's just something you don't see very often in D or C rank PvT. It's pretty uncommon for Protoss to keep their minerals down under 1,000 the entire time once you have 5 or 6 bases.
Yeah. I
mean, some of that does depend on the style of game. I mean, this has definitely been an active game with constant engagements, but oftentimes just getting the gateways up at time and managing that minerals, it's hard to keep the money that low.
Yeah. I do think he's being a little bit maybe too aggressive at certain points. He'd had 2 good engagements and 2 kind of engagements. Right here, he's obviously capitalizing on his prior advantage that he gained, but he's been, I feel like, mentally speaking, like his mentality is like, I must attack, like I'm maxed out, time to go, Like you have to kind of wait for an opportunity, and we saw that when he was trying to poke that 4th base as well. It's like he's like, oh, I'm maxed out, time to go.
Also, he has a shit ton of observers.
Yeah.
It's like 10 observers.
Yeah, if we actually think about this right here, he has 5 observers plus 3 more. That's 8 observers and 3 arbiters. Each arbiter is 3 supply. No, it's 4 supply, isn't it?
4 supply, right? I think so. 4.
Yeah, so 12 supply plus 8, so that's 20 supply and non-army units, more or less. Like the 3 arbiters isn't bad, but having 8 of obs is definitely OD, and that's not counting the obs that he has all over the map as well. He has another 5. 14 total observers.
The one thing I will say about his is his being hyper aggressive. That what I kind of have liked about that is, like, initially he kind of had those battles and maybe he was overextending then, but he got the tank count kind of whittled down. And a lot of times if you do whittle down the tank count, you can be aggressive, especially if you're economically ahead, 6, 7 bases to 4, because then you're just trading evenly, and with a low tank count, you usually will trade evenly and not disastrously. So, like, I think his first 2 engagements maybe were forcing the issue, but since it worked out, I think now it's been an okay decision to keep attacking until here going for this 4th base. I don't know about that.
Yeah, he just lost.
Lower his op count though.
He just lost all 3 of his arbiters, I think, to turrets right there. I saw the last 2 of them die. I don't know where the 3rd one went, but it's gone. And now, I mean, if you look at it this way, Proboa is still broke, but now he can't even max out right now. I mean, this next round isn't going to max him out, and he doesn't have enough money to max out. He did add probes. He's at 67 probes now. But if you look at his bases, I mean, his mineral only is mined out. His 6 o'clock is mining, bottom right, half the map. So he's back on 3 mining bases now, which is equivalent to Terran, unless Terran doesn't repair this CC.
Terran mine from 3 o'clock though. He should at least send a few zealots over there
Hmm.
because
Well, he
while
doesn't
that
have an
whole
obs
engagement
there.
was going on,
Now he saw
yeah,
it with the obs, but
yeah, he should be aware of that. I mean, Terran's trying to take that base. So,
absolutely.
but here we go. He'll get it to lift again now.
But Terran
That's
was
a
trying to be
weird
sneaky.
engagement.
Without
Well, the
Arbiter.
zealots. Oh,
Okay.
the zealots just ran through. Oh, that was
Scan?
not good. He like ran the zealots through.
Hmm.
We're not fighting anything, and now the tank should be able to clean up here. So
Yeah.
we'll be able to regain that base for a moment.
As long as he scans here, without a scan or detection right now, it's kind of hurt. He's not getting it, and good on Probo for Probe Matter for running
Matter.
away here. He
Two
realized
players
that
become one.
he realized that he can't stick around and engage that anymore, and the command center is returning back to the base. Dark Matter was taking a big risk, not having any defenses there whatsoever. I guess he was just praying, but now, yeah, now Probo is locked out. He can't do anything about this base right now. And I really would, at this point, definitely, I mean, we see Probo has a probe at the, what is this, 9 o'clock, but not making a Nexus yet. And the longer this goes on, I can't help but feel that Probo is getting closer and closer to mining out, and his economy is hurting. Well, actually, no, he just took out this mineral only as well, so it's actually the Terran that's going to be an economical struggle soon. This command center has been burning for so long. It's making me really anxious right now, just looking at it burn. But he finally shored up his defenses. I feel like Probo now really can't push up here with much comfort. He needs to wait for the Arbiter. How much energy does this Arbiter have? 134. A big stasis here will definitely do the trick on top of these unsieged tanks, maybe. Let's see where the Zealots are at.
Not enough here to break through this at all.
Yeah, and he's pushing the issues now.
Back like right now.
Yeah, he's pushing the issue now. This
So this is one of these you have to see sooner.
And this could actually result in a massive counter push. At least I wish that the Terran would. If you look at the supply difference, it's absolutely enormous, 183 to 133. And although Probo did start banking up a little bit, maybe realizing that he was running on empty for too long, the Terran can counter push right now and do a hell of a lot of damage to the bottom right. And considering Probo doesn't have any of the left base, this could be economic death for him. Terran just needs to
it looks
unsiege
like
and move.
he might be thinking about it.
He's definitely unsieged. He's probably grouping up right now.
There's so many obs.
Yeah, I mean, if Probo dies, he's gonna know about it.
There were like 5 obs. He just needs like a Goliath and a few science vessels or something. I don't know. I don't know where his vessels have been. Have they just been not making that many and dying? Because he has routinely not had that much vision.
Oh man, Probo is desperate now. He's
throwing down a lot of stasis, but he's going to need to kill this army off, otherwise all of it's going to unstasis.
Yeah. One thing that I feel like Probo, he could have, he actually does have 2 Stargate Arbiter, but he's not producing any right now. Maybe some Templar, maybe some Storm would help right now, considering his gas and mineral count, but now Probo is in a lot of trouble. And this is what happens. This is exactly why I was worried about his hyper-aggressive nature and the fact that he wasn't expanding, is because now, despite the fact that he was, winning engagements, he never banked up enough money to be able to macro up like 2 or 3 rounds of macro. When I'm ahead, when I'm maxed out as Protoss and Terran's not really pushing out or anything, I like to grab bases and just bank up like 2,000 or 3,000 minerals so I can make a macro round or 2 as soon as I lose my next engagement, because that's what happens against 3-3 Terran.
Yeah, now he's in a really difficult spot. Honestly, I really think though it was mostly just that last engagement. Because he had Terran broken down. He kind of had Terran not mining from his 5th base, and then he swung over to the top for honestly no real reason.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the beginning of his mistake, rather than focusing on that spot, because he could have continued to deny mining from the 5th indefinitely. So he switched that, and then that gave Terran time to stabilize and macro up a little bit more on and defend his 5th.
Oh, no.
And then he committed too much there.
Yeah. It's crazy
And
how.
now
Oh no,
he's getting a little bit desperate.
All right, the command center burned down, by the way, in the 5th base.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oops.
So now Dark Matter is the one that's running on fumes, and to add to the list of Probo's mistakes, his ops positioning, despite the great amount of them, wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
That's why the 5th base stayed up for as long as it did, and those provided some crucial minerals for Dark Matter, because if, as I said, Dark Matter is running on empty now. It's the fact that he had a 4,000 mineral bank that kept him in this for so long in the first
And
place.
especially that gas was nice too, because he's had the bank, but the gas from the extra gas from the base was really helping as well.
Let's see how much gas he got from that, actually. I'm curious. Yeah, he got 1,200 gas out of that base. That's fantastic. That's 12 tanks if you want to think about it that way. And Proboa, he's hurting right now. 50 supply below Terran. Nice D matrix on the tank, make it really worth its money. The Vessel's running away though. Definitely needs at least 1 or 2 Goliaths. I feel like you don't need to get too many. Maybe like max 4. Oh, here comes the 2 Goliaths that I was asking him for. Nice stream hacks.
Finally.
Yes, nice
Finally.
stream cheat. And this one thing that I really want a lot of our Terran players to pick up on is the fact that you should have 2 Goliaths and the Vessel with the first time you move out against Arbiter, in my opinion, because the Goliaths killed the Obs as they move out, you know, and that decreases the Protoss awareness of what's going on the map.
Definitely.
I mean, Obs, they cost gas. They cost 75 gas each, which might not be too much, but still, you know, that's an expense that you're racking up for your opponent practically for free. They're not gonna kill you. They're just making it easier for Protoss to know what you're doing. So having a few Goliaths and a Vessel with your push is always a good idea.
Yeah, and it's a huge difference, honestly, as Protoss. Number one, just from a comfort standpoint, but also from like a positioning standpoint. If you always know where Terran is, it's just so much more relaxing to play. And when Terran moves out, kills your Obs, and you're trying to feel out his army, figure out how big it is, it's just hugely advantageous.
Yeah. And now we see Proboa desperately trying to take the top left base. I mean, he did secure 9 o'clock. Well, secure is really loosely used here because he has absolutely no defenses here. 1 Vulture Raid will do the trick here. I want to look at... okay.
Problem is he's got 600 minerals and 120 supply. So, you know, what are you going to do against a max Terran with 120 supply?
Well, right now, Dark Matter is kind of camping below these gateways, which I think is actually not a bad choice. Even though there is minerals up here, it is better than pushing up, I think, at this point. I feel like he should just pack up and go somewhere else, like try to look for those other bases at this point. I did see 1 Comsat station at least with 200 energy. I see another one here. I understand that you can't hockey them, but when you realize that you're running out of scan energy, just go to one of your bases and click on that one and manually spend a few scans. So that way he would have known about this expansion here, or even just send a Vulture at this point. You know that Protoss does not have any map control whatsoever. But it looks like Dark Matter is actually opting to take this base, which has about, I would say, 800 or 900 minerals added total. He's making a new command center for it. Definitely not the best choice. I definitely would have liked to see him expand left, as I believe Evil Eye mentioned earlier. And actually, both players should have expanded left at some point during this game.
He's actually trying to take this base down here. That's interesting.
Yeah. And man, Proboa, I feel so bad for him right now. He was playing so well for so long, but he just kind of ran out of steam after losing those 2 engagements. Like, there's
like 600 minerals there. That's like barely worth it to make that command center right there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a 400 mineral investment to gain back like maybe 600. But I guess he just wants to push all the way up here and take out the top base. Mine's in the middle, but we'll see if he's paying attention to this, because I have seen him throughout this game here throw some of these small little kamikaze attacks into the middle that haven't really accomplished much other than donating the units made from his gateways in his main. Kind of the same thing there. He's donating a few small groups.
See, if he had, all right, so this engagement that he had here, it would have been so much stronger if he had all 8 Dragoons, 3 Templar, and 10 Zealots going at once. He definitely could have cleared out these 2 Vultures, 1 Goliath, and 3 Siege Tanks. That would have been done. But the way that he's sending it right now piecemeal, he's going to probably lose a lot, if not everything, just to mines and Siege Tanks.
He'll clear it, but he's going to lose way more than he needed to. I mean, he's already lost 5 Goons and a Templar, and now he's going to lose a lot more than that.
Yeah, and these Arbiters don't have energy for stasis. So at least this time he sends the Zealots out alone, trying to minimize the amount of losses that he's getting. But I don't think Proboa is going to struggle with this. Even just having mines here is going to be able to delay it long enough for a Siege Tank to pop out. He actually has one in his main base already, so this counterattack is just kind of desperate at this point. I can't blame Proboa for that. I feel like he's trying to buy time for him to bank up a little bit with the bases that he's establishing right now.
Yeah, most likely. That would
And
make sense. Although he's only mining from one of them, so
mhm. And yeah, Probo actually is down to 38, 35 probes now, so definitely going to be hurting economically for a while now. Dark Matter on 67 SCVs, but they're all on 1.5 bases.
oh shit, he was all clumped up and just ate some huge storms. The Dragoons might actually bust through that because of it.
Hmm.
Should assassinate that. Oh, that one tank isn't storm. Never mind. Cleaned up. Wow.
He's going to get yeah, assassinated anyway. But so is this Arbiter. A little bit of miscontrol here from
Still on
Probo.
one armor. He probably thought he started his armor things and just didn't, and he's just assuming he's on 3-3, but he's actually just on 3-1.
I don't know, perhaps. And we see waves and waves of Protoss now running into what is essentially Dark Matter's last mining base. I mean, the other base is going to mine out really soon. It does look like there's a little bit more at the other base. I mean, actually...
Oh, he needs to run those SCVs away. He's just letting them... he's letting the Zealots just destroy the SCVs. Don't do it. Lift your command center, man.
Oh, God.
Why?
I mean, to be fair, he probably doesn't need this many SCVs on, considering he's about to be on 0 bases, but it turned out to be, like, I feel like both, especially Dark Matter here, made the mistake of trying to expand south into these eaten up bases. Now Probo is the one that has the most money available to him on the left side of the map. He has a lot of minerals available.
Yeah,
Period.
but if you look at this, I don't know. He just doesn't know. It's a scouting thing, but he could send 6 vultures and kill every probe, and like this mining from this left-hand side shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I just if you turn off
With
the
better
vision
awareness.
if you turn off the vision from oh, we just got the first scan. I just saw it live. All right, you see it live, folks. He just scouted the fact that there's a Nexus up there. He's probably like, oh shit. Like,
He
I
does still have
fucked
an
up.
army to push, and if he can shut that down, he will be in good position. But I would say if he fails to shut this down and loses his army, then it will be hugely in Probo's favor because
Well,
it'll be 2 the entire side.
whoa, I have permanently cloaked units.
Oh, what?
Because I was switching vision, they get permanently cloaked for some reason.
Oh, that's
Sometimes,
kind of
yeah,
tricky until they die.
but yeah. So Probo now aware probably of the scan, or at least aware that he needs to protect these bases with his life. He's parked his army out here, but it's really a pitiful army. I feel like if Dark Matter just collected everything he has and went for it, I mean, what is he really
I think
defending
that's what
down
he's
here?
gonna do.
Yeah, it
He's
looks
worried
like
about that base at the bottom, but I don't know. It's like if you have 1 mining base and the Protoss has 3 mining bases, you can't sit at your base and just hope to win. Like, you need to do something, and right now he's sort of, maybe he's just gathering his army, but right now he's not doing anything.
I'm also really questioning this decision to make like an 8th command center at this bottom right base instead of lifting this one. It's not like he needs 6 scanners anyway. And
Yeah, and the build time versus flight time, like, it might even be faster to fly
yeah,
than to build.
absolutely. Nice EMPs here. Guess the Arbiter and all the Dragoons.
Yeah, that was... He needs to pull the vultures back, though, because there are a ton of zealots here. Okay. No, he's trying to run the zealots into things. All right, now he's attacking, but I don't know if it's enough. No, it is definitely not.
Yeah, pure zealot. Upgrades
That
not very good.
might be trouble, because
Yeah.
he's only got a few zealots left. There's a lot of vultures. He can just run vultures into the 9 o'clock, which I wish he'd do. Just send some vultures. Ah, why? I mean, it's good that you're going to kill the top bases, but you could shut down all the bases at once.
Well, at the same time, you have to consider the fact that Dark Matter himself is pretty much broke right now. Like, even though he
No,
is
I'm
mining,
saying...
like, yeah, he can't really afford to waste units. I don't think at this point. Even though Probo has pretty much no army left whatsoever, Dark Matter is probably playing a little bit more cautious than maybe you would expect. And there goes the GG. Wow, what a fantastic game from our players here. That was really good. I was actually really impressed by both players there.
Yeah, there was a lot to like about that game. Obviously, the nature of this casting is, trying to point out things that aren't good, but honestly, there was quite a bit to like from that game.
And one of let's do a quick recap of what we think the biggest issues are of what we saw from both players. Let's start with the Protoss since we both know Protoss a bit better. I would say Probo definitely a little bit low on the probe count. Getting into the late game would have been nice to have 10 more probes. Getting arbiters a little bit sooner, and the obs positioning, even though it was good, it could have been better. And
Yeah, another thing is
go ahead.
his macro, like the actual, spending of the money and stuff like that was quite solid all game long. The one thing I did notice though, and I wasn't paying super close attention to the build and what he was making, but I did check a couple times at like 11 minutes and then again at like 13 minutes 30 or something like that. and even at like 13 something, he was still only at about 150 supply,
Hmm.
which for just a pure macro Protoss, especially delaying arbiters, seems a little on the slow side. So that might be related to probe count and just expansions timings. But I feel like that macro could be coming up a little bit faster.
Hmm. So I've decided just now that I'm gonna give grades to people based on their performance. Like, and this is obviously like relative to, like the skill level of the league and their prior skill and stuff. So I think I'm gonna settle with a solid B plus for Proba. So this is not the IC Cup B plus, it's just B plus. Eh, he did lose, and so I'd give him B. And then for Dark Matter, I'd give him a B plus. And let's talk about Dark Matter a little bit. What could have he done better? One of the first things I want to bring up is the lack of the armor upgrade and the lack of the third gas when he could have gotten it so much sooner. I feel like those two things could have helped him really steamroll Probo and some of those key engagements if he had the 3-3. What else?
Yeah.
The
I guess the other thing too is I would like to know the reasoning, but it did seem to me like he got that first armory really, really fast, as well as getting that science vessel really, really fast.
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't see, don't even know, I don't even know if he had scans or figured out what Protoss was going. But usually, when you see the fast vessels from Terran, two base vessel or really fast vessel on three bases, that's usually in response to two base arbiter.
Mhm.
So you're running the risk of getting, obviously, especially getting both the armory and the starport that fast. You're going to really reduce your army count, and you're increasing the risk of getting run over by just Protoss doing obnoxious stuff. And honestly, there was that point in the game where we were looking, where we said, hey, he's got a group of goons. If he had a group of zealots up here, he might be able to run across the bridges and cause some trouble.
Mhm.
So that was a risky move.
Yeah, definitely a dearth of mines on the map in general. I feel like he played
Yeah.
a very passive style, but kind of both players did until they had like a gentleman's agreement to meet in the middle of the map and fight it out. There was no mines on the map spotting. That's another important point that I feel like I would have been very nice. The mines that I was talking about being on the outside of the fourth base, being on the high ground outside the fourth base, those are mines that A, slow down Protoss army, B, kind of force them to reconsider like, oh shit, he knows where I'm at, maybe I shouldn't go this way. And C has the potential of just straight up doing damage, killing some speed loss that are A moved in that direction. And that also reminds me of Proba, one of the bigger mistakes earlier in the game that definitely would have been punished by a stronger player, was overcommitting, sending, 150 supply of Protoss army to kill one dropship and so on and so forth. So definitely try to mentally check yourself before you send that much.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing too I want to talk about with Probu's play was when we were having all the fighting in the middle, and I guess throughout the game, like I said, the macro was very impressive. I mean, he was constantly flooding. The reinforcing was really, really good, but at times to me, it felt like it was a little bit kamikaze and just not well directed. It was like, all right, I'm just going to take my shit and send it to the middle and hope it just kind of overwhelms him. And it was just sort of, like hammer against it. And it's one of those things
Hmm.
where if you're doing the same thing over and over and over, Terran's like, okay, well, this is what Protoss is doing, and he just targets his defense against that. A pretty good example is when Roboa did swing around to attack the 12 o'clock base. He just assumed, okay, I'll be back to attack my fifth, and he just like mined up there and put all of his stuff outside the fifth to defend.
Hmm.
If Proboa would have changed tactic and maybe like recalled into the main or something,
Hmm.
it would have been thrown off really bad. Like Dark Matter would have been like, whoa, it's one of those things where it's really
Yeah,
easy to get in this mode of doing one thing and you're just doing it, doing it, doing it. But sometimes a switch to a different tactic or a different strategy can be really, I don't know, exploitative, useful, whatever.
absolutely. That's a really great point that you bring up about the lack of recall. I think that would have been a great addition to Pro Boa's play. So, we just finished up week 3. Now for week 4, we have pretty much the bulk of the cast ahead of us. For the first game, we have Genji versus Sequence on Destination. This can be a ZVT. So Genji, I've known him pretty well. He was on my rookie league team, which is the league that Faust ran for about 11 weeks. It was a great league. So yeah, Genji's on my team. I'd say he's a pretty solid player. Definitely has an affinity for off the wall, kind of all any cheesy builds. But he has like 300 APM, decent army control, decent macro. So I feel like he would be a good challenge for Sequence. Sequence is a new addition, relatively new addition to the league. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, at least he has been playing pretty solidly himself, so I'm looking forward to this game.
Sequence is Terran, right?
Yeah, Sequence is Terran.
Genji is
Zerg.
okay.
So, in the 12 o'clock position, we have Genji, the red Zerg. and at the 6 o'clock position we have Sequence, the Teal Terran. So TVZ on this map can be a little bit interesting. First of all, I feel like mech is pretty good on this map, especially with the mech being the newer meta. Like it kind of adopts all the strengths that mech has on this map against Protoss. And Zerg actually has a lot of cheese options on this map. Well, both races technically do. First of all, there's the obvious rushes with mining out the back mineral line, the back mineral with drones, and then doing a ling rush. There's also this little sweet spot behind the natural where you can burrow lurkers and attack the SCVs in the Terran main. But that also applies to Terran as well. They can drop tanks behind the mineral line here and be very hard to counter if the Zerg did not mine out the back mineral. So this back mineral mechanic is going to be interesting to see if the players take advantage of it. You know,
That is a very early SCV, right?
no, but he's
never
going
mind.
for the
Depot.
yeah, he's going for the wall. So definitely, I'm gonna have to suspect that there's gonna be mech coming out of this because if there's I don't think there's really much of a need to build your depot out here if you're not going for a wall off or mech, unless he's doing for something super greedy.
Yeah, although some Terrans just like the security a wall gives you, and Marines do spawn on the inside of this wall. So,
True.
Like if you think about some games on Jade, sometimes you'll see Pro Terrans wall on Jade, even if they're going to play bio.
And Genji's going for a 12 hatch. Generally not a popular choice on this map, partially because of the fact that the scouting SCV or probe can get there early enough to deny it, but he went for it anyway. It's going to work out for him. Because it doesn't look like Sequence is doing anything hyper aggressive. And I forgot to mention that there's also the option always of floating buildings.
Gas steal by Terran, a bit interesting. But I honestly never really feel like that's worth it, because if you take your gas at the normal timing at the natural, it basically finishes like in tandem with your hatchery. So unless you're just going to do something where you take 2 gases super fast, it's not a big deal to have your gas stolen.
That's true. And also, Zergs generally nowadays, they go for 3 hatch before gas anyway, so I don't agree with it as well. But it looks like he's going to take both gases, actually. That might be an interesting choice here. He does have the 100 minerals to do so now. Is he going to take this 3rd gas as well? Because that might be a decent choice, actually. Let's see. Yes, and he does take the 3rd. Yeah, it takes the 2nd gas. Sorry.
2nd gas?
Yeah, sorry. Did I say 3rd gas? That's my fault. Yeah. Well.
Okay, now that's a little bit more annoying.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Sequence going for some interesting tactics here. And we see one drone scouting out, finds out what the Terran is doing. Terran has walled off. He's making Marines. No gas of his own yet, so it looks like maybe I was wrong about the mech choice. And the gas in the main gets cancelled now, so I'm actually kind of I'm curious now about this decision making now that he canceled that gas. I don't think it should have been close to dying. It had at least 140 health when I last looked at it.
Yeah.
So now this is becoming a kind of a waste of money at this point. Looks like command center is going to go down though.
But of course, you take your 2nd gas in ZVT normally 23 supply ish, usually well after you have like lings out on the map. So that keeping that refinery there now is not really serving much of a purpose, unless you just want scouting a refinery.
Also you have to consider the fact that I guess can scout the ling count, can keep the lings occupied for a second or two, but he opted to make the command center in the main actually. I'm not really sure about that choice. I feel like he has enough Marines.
Makes no sense. I mean, if Zerg is opening 12 hatch, you can just go ahead and make a command center.
I feel like he
on the low ground with no Marines.
I feel like he overcomplicated it. Honestly, he took 2 gases, which slowed down his command center, and then he made the command center in his main, which slows down the use of the command center. And the reason why he built it in the main is because he was worried about the lings that were now going to be early enough to do something about the command center because he delayed it so much. It's just
Zerg's lings. I don't know what they're doing there. Okay, now he's sending some out. I was like, he should have some lings down here. Like, I don't even know if he really needs that sunken, but I was like, he should definitely have some lings at Terran's front to at least start feeling out what Terran's up to and be attentive to where he's moving on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, this Overlord, I mean, it's not serving any purpose right here. Usually, Zergs park their Overlord right here. I know you can't see my map, but toward the top left of his bridge. You see that little cliff over there? You can see army moving out that way.
That's a good spot for it.
Also, you can park it behind behind the natural, where you see if the mineral field is being mined out. You can see if the command center is floating over there. In this case, which is something you rarely see, but he sees that.
He runs up to attack the wall, but he donates a ling.
Yeah, but he sees the marine count and he sees that the Rax is active, so he knows that there's no, I don't know, two port shenanigans most likely right now. And we are seeing four Rax, three just being thrown down right now. Plus one is already on the way. So looks like we're gonna be seeing an aggressive build here, which I'm not sure I like on this map, to be honest with you. These chokes make it nearly impossible to engage the Zerg aggressively.
It's kind of funny because honestly, in both my practice on IC Cup or on 1.18 on Destination, like almost everybody I was playing against was playing Bio on Destination,
Hmm.
as have most people. And what I think is going on, honestly, is it just there's enough players that are new enough that they don't really know the days from when Destination was a map, and
Yeah.
they don't realize that most people like played mech on Destination. So I'm actually getting all these Bio Destination games, even though mech was really the popular way to play it.
Yeah, and another thing that I feel like people kind of learn a build when they're starting out, and they just kind of use it.
Yeah.
They just copy paste the build onto every map. It's kind of, you have to think about this. The way I like to think about it is like you can't send the same resume to 5 different jobs if they're in different fields. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I used to work as a tutor, and I also worked manual labor. I'm not gonna send my manual labor resume to a tutoring center, for example. You have to have a different build for different situations, different maps, so on and so forth. So it definitely looks like this 5 racks plus one definitely got like copy and pasted onto Destination kind of blindly.
And of course, for anyone that doesn't know, the main reason that mech was so popular on this map was with all these bridges and chokes like that. It was just ridiculously difficult to get bio around, and
Hmm.
honestly difficult to shoot at lurkers with tanks because of the length of the bridges.
Hmm.
So let's go mech instead.
Yeah, and he actually went lurker on top of this as well. But right now we're seeing a quick Ling run by. I don't think it's gonna
That was
do
not
anything.
going to work at all. Okay, he's going to
Whoa.
get you in. That worked better than I thought.
Whoa.
I mean, it should get killed pretty quickly, but
I'm gonna say I don't think it's worth it anyway. I mean, these SCVs, even if he kills like
what's some of the
5
SCVs he kills?
Whoa, what?
It's
Oh,
starting
oh my
to become
god.
worth it. Yeah, that was probably worth it. 12
Yeah,
lings to kill 5 or 6 SCVs and all that. Yeah, that's
yeah.
probably worth it.
Now it was definitely. No, the SCVs didn't run away in time. The Marines didn't react in time. So definitely a combination of a confluence of mistakes that led to something that was, I don't think, a great choice, at least becoming a decent choice in this case. But in general, I don't think you want to be throwing away your lings in the mid game against a 5 racks Terran like that. And
Ton of sunkens. What is he going for?
he's going for lurkers, which is pretty much the
I
hard counter in this
feel like
scenario.
5 sunkens, especially over the bridges, is like super overkill.
Yeah, I agree. But I guess on the other hand, though, if he sends these 2 lurkers immediately to defend the third base instead of burrowing on the bridges,
Sure.
yeah, which is exactly what he's doing. He actually doesn't need any lurkers in his natural now.
In
But
retrospect, that actually makes the lings really nice because those forced, especially because they got by, they forced all those Marines to stay back for an extra 10 seconds. And
mhm,
honestly, if he would have been 10 seconds out faster on the map, he may very well have stopped those 2 lurkers from going over the bridges.
that is true. But I also feel like the lurkers were slightly delayed as well. I mean, he started mining a second gas kind of late, despite putting it down relatively early. The lurker upgrade or the Hydra time, I couldn't tell which was late, but something was definitely a little bit off about this build. Maybe it was because of the amount of lings that he made. I'm sorry, I unfortunately missed that, but definitely felt a bit late. But now I feel like Sequence realized the flaw in his thinking when he saw those 5 songs. He's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, definitely pick.
Sequen's gonna have to be careful too, because Zerg is gonna have a hive that is significantly faster than any of his tech.
Yeah,
He is not set at the factory, and hive is halfway.
yeah, that's a crucial error right here. I feel like as soon as you move out with 5 racks plus one, you should throw down a factory, and like on top of
And he
the
is
fact,
getting it now.
yeah, on top of the fact that it was a poor build choice for this map, and on top of the fact that Genji pretty much chose the correct response to the build, he also, his follow-up is going to be very late. He's pretty much stuck with bio that he can't really do anything with for a while here.
Yeah, I mean the one good thing I will say is that at least he's not contained behind his own bridges.
Yeah,
But
that would be terrible.
normally if you're playing against a lurker Zerg, you want to a
Oh.
3-hatch lurker Zerg, you want to have your army at his base and make it hard for him to get across the map, kind of
Oh
like
shit.
this.
Oh shit. Oh
But
my
he's got
god.
to. Oh shit! Move, move. I mean, he's gonna kill everything, but it's gonna cost him a decent number of Marines.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Because that was almost no splitting. It was like a flank, but it was like no splitting.
I don't think I would have engaged that, to be honest with you. I would have just let those lurkers chill there. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you want this bridge, you can have it. There's another one. There's like 4 or 5 different ways I can get to you. I don't need to engage these 4 lurkers in front of a bridge here. So a little bit of a decision-making error here, I think. And
But it worked out okay. I mean, he killed 6 lurkers, which honestly is probably worth losing a group and a half of Marines for.
yeah, especially if you went 5 racks, you can replenish that really quickly. So I would say that both players kind of made a mistake there. Genji recognized it soon enough that he was about to run into that.
He is not getting anything from his factory. It might be too late for tanks, but I would like to at least see him start getting mines or something like that, because vultures with mines are obviously going to be huge once defilers are out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which are
and
getting pretty close.
He actually built his starport in a way that he can't throw the add-on down, so...
I also don't really like him running these 4 lurkers all by themselves across the map, because honestly, a few lurkers in the open is so easy to spread against. Like, if you're going to move around like this, you got to have lings with them, or know that Terran has a super tiny Marine count.
Yeah, or scout ahead with them. But these lurkers, they're doing something sneaky. They moved all the way to the right, even though Sequence made the mistake of going almost fully behind into his natural. Those 4 lurkers would have held those 2 ramps for a while if they were allowed to show there. But yeah, these lurkers are definitely being way too adventurous right now.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's kind of hard to just catch them with the Marines, but if he burrows them, they're just dead.
Uh-oh. I thought there was about to be a trap. I thought that was going to be really... Oh, no.
He's going for the against the... This time he's going to get slaughtered. This is just going to be...
Nope.
He turns around.
Yeah. And he's making pure lurk. I don't really get this composition. I mean, he has the larva for it, he has the APM for it, he's just not really making much of anything with them. Now we see some Zerglings on the way finally. I would have liked to see, I mean, Defiler should be consumed, just is halfway done. I feel like the Defiler should be coming out right now, but he's not making any, unfortunately.
Did he not start his no, he has it. Okay, he's getting irradiate and he's making a vessel. Okay, so that won't be as bad of timing as it looked like it was going to be initially. Certainly won't have an opportunity to pressure Zerg prior to Defiler, but he's not going to be like sitting back. Oh, this is a bad idea.
No.
Very bad idea.
Genji is just
trying it.
Yeah, Genji is wasting.
Oh, this is a mistake. If he Terran doesn't trust his control though. That's so easy to kill Terran though.
Yeah,
like if he was playing a guy that was like a B-level Terran, those lurkers would be so dead right now.
Yeah, the thing is though, Genji has kind of the right idea. He sees that, he knows that he's gonna have Defiler soon, but he's not. He's moving around without the Defilers though. Like the Defilers need to come with. You know, you can't just be walking around like this. And Terran is kind of giving too much breathing room to the Zerg. I would have loved to see him be forcing the Defilers to slowly come out. You know, like neither of these players seem to be using the natural bridges very well to their advantage.
Yeah. All right, let's see if he spreads and goes for it here. He's going to need to spread a little bit more if he wants to kill all of this, but he is getting through the lurkers. Okay. And he realizes, this is not a good idea.
Oh, a little bit of spread here. I saw an attempt, at least.
This is minimal, but look at that. Even with minimal spreading, he still basically just walked over that.
Yeah.
He lost like a control group of Marines, but, you know.
I feel like it's the armor that really helped in that situation. Wait, where'd the lurkers go? Okay, yeah. There's no attack upgrade for the lurkers. They're pure armor, so I'm guessing that the Zerg is gearing up for a Ling Ultra Army in the late game. And the 1 armor on the Marines really helps against the lurker attacks. It allows them to eat an extra attack per from a lurker.
Holy shit, he has a ton of SCVs, like 7 SCVs idle in his top main. Oh, he's starting to transition into a bunch of barracks. So he did that for a reason, but I just saw 70 SCVs like floating around. So he is going to play bio all the day.
This is SK Terran right here, yeah. Wow, he's going up
to God he is getting upgrades though. Where is his eBay?
Yeah, his second attack just started. His second eBay is on the way.
So I was gonna say if you're down 1 armor, it's a little rough. But if you're down 2 armor, especially against ultras, like your Marines get almost useless.
Yeah. They already pretty much just like shake a pepper shaker at the ultras as it is. And Zerg, he's actually going up to 3. He's gonna have 3 armor before the Terran has 3 attacks.
His vessels are out in front, and he gets him scourged.
Oh, he does. Damn, I missed it. Unfortunate.
Yeah, he just had like he pulled his army back, but his vessels didn't go back with it. And it opened his gap, and he got scourged.
I don't see an Ultralisk then though. That's one thing that's really puzzling me, and I don't see a 4th base. You know, with all the lurkers that he's thrown out all across the map, with the fact that he has Defilers out,
he
should have 4
and he
or
could
5
have the
base.
5th too in the back.
Yeah, not just that. He could also have the high. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like if you sneak 2 or 3 lurkers over to the high ground, 4th, and then you can take the back door, and you can sneak 2 to 4 lurkers over and take the base that's at 9 o'clock. Like, yeah, he could easily have more bases. Especially because think about where Terran's positioned his army this whole game.
Yeah, which is on his half, pretty much.
Yeah, so Zerg could have been free to take a lot more bases.
Yeah, definitely a lot of questionable decisions here. I can't believe that Sequence is deciding to go for SK Terran on this map. That's mind-boggling to me. And he himself is also not taking a 3rd base at all. Like, you know, I mean, I understand that Marines are cheap, but he hasn't even tried to expand.
Right now.
He's up to 5,
by the time he gets it,
8.
Mind out.
He's on 13 barracks right now. On 2 bases.
Did he really make that many?
Yeah, he's on 13
I guess he just wants to
barracks.
keep his mind away. What's funny is he's about to be on 13 barracks on like 1 base.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a time here where these minerals mine out before his transfer is over at his 3rd base.
Like, I really don't see...
I guess his money should be low.
I mean, honestly though, his bio army is kind of getting scary right now. I don't see Genji being able to engage this head on, and now Genji's the one that's going to get contained. Needs
With
some
swarms.
Good... Yeah, good...
With swarms he could, but he needs to get some plagues in there and other stuff too to deal with this many, or get the ultras out. Oh, he's trying to brute force across the bridges. I wonder if he's... Oh, he's got... Okay, never mind, he can't. I was like, he might have enough Marines that you could almost brute force from there. Oh, he's got to be careful. Swarm going down, needs to pull back from there.
And that was a big... Oh no, this could be bad.
So much bio,
Oh my god, this is bad.
Oh, is he gonna plague? Does he have stuff for plague, or is he just gonna keep pushing forward with swarm?
Ultra is then finally done. No upgrades coming up for it though.
Oh, he could kill the Scourge, but he was just... Oh, he gets off a tiny little plague. For Marines.
Yeah. Oh, this might be another big one. Oh no, he swarms on top of it. So I feel like the mistake there, if Sequence had scanned ahead, he would have known that he can't pressure that bridge. He should have just stayed outside the natural of Genji.
Alright, so he's finally landed his 3rd. And also, the one thing I've noticed is he's had this lurker in the very bottom left for a long time. Like he was going to bury it behind, but he hasn't actually done anything with it yet.
Yeah.
Probably just forgotten, but... Oh, he's trying to stay to fight a lurker under swarm, but that's never going to work out.
God. This is like... I definitely not... I would... Like, I want to put this as nicely as possible, but this is definitely not the strategy portion of a real-time strategy game right now. At least it gives us a lot to talk about, I think.
I don't think it's too bad for what Zerg is doing right now. I mean, I'd like to see him take more bases and maybe start transitioning to Ultra, but, I mean, he's doing okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Zerg's mistakes were definitely earlier in the game when he was running around with the lurkers, not really taking a position anywhere. Not capitalizing on the fact that the Terran was pretty much not camping on his side of the map, not expanding. But we'll cover that in the summary later. But this is still a scary bio force. I mean, it is dwindling because of his engagements. And wow, this 3rd that's been landed. That
oh, he had nothing over there at it, so he's gonna have to lift it.
Yeah, at least he didn't have any SCVs there though.
Please lift it. Please, 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 no!
I'm not sure that these are cracklings. They might be.
They were definitely crackling.
Okay, and Ultralisks are getting their upgrades now.
So he didn't lift his 3rd instead, so now he's got 1 base.
I just caught the tail end of him losing his only vessel. And now this is officially impossible for him to engage. You know, you can't do anything about this except for fire bats, which are really not that good against this amount of lurkers.
Especially not on bridges. Oh, now we've got like 5 ultras with no speed. No speed or armor, so they're kind of shitty ultras.
Oh, they don't have armor yet? Yeah, it's about to no, it's finishing up now, but they are shitty ultras, and they are getting
they're way too slow. Yeah. Without swarm, you have to have armor and speed to engage with ultras, unless you're just using swarm.
Yeah, and Terran also does not have any upgrades going for him. He's stuck at 1-2, and I mean, it's kind of understandable. He's only on 1 base now. And looks like Zerg didn't really leave much.
Just Defiler, he could maybe... No, but too slow. I was going to say, with his army positioned where it was, he maybe could have assassinated the Defiler and killed the base off real quick with his main army kind of slowing Zerg's movement down, but he didn't capitalize on that opportunity. Because these are only 2 attack Marines, so they are not going to take a ton of damage. And one thing that's interesting too is the fact that what's his name? Sequence has 0 fire bats. Like you don't necessarily
Mhm.
need mass fire bats, but if you're gonna play against this, like having a few fire bats in there is usually nice.
Mhm.
Especially when you're hardly making any vessels. Like it's one thing to say, okay, the gas is best spent on vessels, but when you've got like no vessels and you're losing them really fast, like you might as well at least throw a few fire bats in there.
Take a look at his main real quick. I'm sorry, Sequence. I gotta laugh, but he's floating his main command center away because so he's long distance mining with like 10 SCVs to the command center that's at the top of his base. Like I'm
Oh,
like I don't understand the thought process here very much.
is he gas mined out? Oh, that's really bad to float away that soon. He's not even out of mining his gas.
Yeah.
He's also got another command center. Like he could take both bases. It's just, I don't know. I think probably trying to control this much bio,
Mhm.
even if you're sort of pro-tossing it with 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A, 8A, 9A, it still takes up a shit ton of clicking when you're also needing to expand and go to other places. Like there's a reason why SK Terran's hard to play.
Mhm. On top of the fact that it was definitely the poor choice on this map, but I mean he's keeping Genji back in his base. Genji has not been really effective with his
Yeah.
defilers or with his army in general, not being able to move out very well. So if he's actually pressuring now and there's no lurkers here, there's just ultras.
The idea of coming across those bridges is still basically an impossibility.
Yeah.
There's the swarm. Time to stem and pull back. Which he's actually doing fine. Like
Yeah.
in the middle of the map, he's doing okay. It's just everything else. That seems to be taking up almost all of his attention.
Yeah.
Oh, decent little plague there.
Yeah.
Tricks the Marines into running in.
Ultra speed is almost done now. Now these ultras are gonna get scary. I would have loved to see the additional upgrades for ground, the attack upgrades for ground, and more links for sure. He has about 5 lurkers parked at his no 6 lurkers parked at his fourth base, and there's absolutely no need for that many. He could be taking a fifth right now with a gas there.
Oh, he's gonna run in there, but we know what's gonna happen to these poor Marines.
Yeah, this is why bio does not work on this map, because engaging lurkers uphill.
And the Defiler does not have energy to swarm, so he will kill off some ultras here unless he runs across the bridge, which is what he needs to do right now.
Oh, there's a Ling terrorizing the mineral line, the last minerals of the Terran player right here. Oh, got 6
Really?
kills on
Oh,
it.
yeah, I see it.
Ooh, monster plague here.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Scourge move out, nothing there. Oh, and these medics, they're gonna waste all their energy on this. They actually already have wasted all their energy. All the medics.
Oh, man.
And that's
Oh, it's
that's a
around.
rip.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, but another batch comes up to support.
He's got one swarm. He can get rid of all of this.
Yeah.
Is starting to run a little bit dry, especially since he's not been able. Like he has this huge army in the center, and he's got center army control, and he's not taking his bases. It's killing
Yeah.
me.
And,
Like when you have 5 control groups in the middle of the map,
oh my god. Yeah, and Genji.
please secure your expansions.
Genji had a 4th base, but he only had like 2 drones at it. Despite having a Defiler, 6 Lurkers, 2
Yeah.
Sunkens there, you're not really getting your money's worth out of that base. So, alright, we have a lot to say about that game, I feel like.
There's a lot to say. I guess the first thing I have to talk about is like end game stuff as Terran. Like, here's the thing: Zerg has Swarm, which basically means no matter how many Marines you have, you can't break a certain position, right? So if you have 7 groups of Marines all in the middle of the map, they're not all be shut down by one Defiler. So if you have that many and you're not securing other expansions and Lings are annoying your other expansions, like take a control group back and have it around your expansion. Take a control group, put it around your expansion. Do some drops. Like one of the advantages of bio is the mobility and ability of the Marine Force to move around.
Absolutely.
Like it's not strong in one place attacking one area. It's the ability to be in lots of places, all the time, always moving, always threatening. And when you just sit it in one place, especially when you're not even securing your own bases, I mean, he had 8 groups of Marines in the middle of the maps and 6 Lings, 8 Lings came and killed a command center.
Yeah. Definitely his APM was being pushed to the limit there. I feel like he couldn't keep track of all the little things that he should be doing, and as a result, he didn't have the APM to make a drop ship and send it over somewhere. He was just so focused on running around with his army in the middle of the map, which as you said earlier, he could have been using that army for better purpose. Another thing that I want to add is, obviously we mentioned this earlier, but I definitely don't like the build choice for this map. It maybe it was just like poorly thought out, or maybe that's the only build that he's comfortable with in TVZ. But either way, the build is only as good as it is practical, and in that case, I don't think the build was very practical for the map.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, there's probably ways you can make it work if you have a specific plan in mind, but as just a general, but especially 5 racks plus one, like I could maybe see a case of where maybe what do you call it, like 9 minute push or 3 racks tank
Hmm.
vessel thing maybe could get something done, but just mass marines, the main goal of that is to deny the third, and it's pretty good map for me to harass, pin you back a little bit more, and then trying to get out on the map and deny the third, even if there's not lurkers with the chokes and stuff. It's hard to do.
Yeah. So I feel like overall, I'd have to give sequence. It's hard to say. I already wrote down C minus, but I think I might have to push it down to a D plus. I mean, just overall, it was uh, not the greatest decisions from start to finish. Didn't see a very coherent game plan, so I'm going to push it up to a D plus, simply for the fact that there was mechanics and there was some sort of game plan involved. Now for Genji, let's shift our attention to him for a minute. He did all the right things leading up to the mid game. He had the right build. He secured a third base relatively early. He recognized what the enemy was doing. The Ling run by might maybe a little bit questionable, but he got some value out of it. Then after that, the lurker movements around the middle of the map completely puzzled me. Like just as much as sequences movements puzzled me.
Yeah.
The only reason that he wasn't getting punished for, or the only reason that um, the only reason why maybe he was doing it in the first place, because Genji's movements made no sense either. He was
Yeah,
sending lurkers and links for no reason.
that, and the one thing I will say is he did overall not make the decision to burrow in a really bad place.
Hmm.
The times he did burrow were across the bridges where it's not so bad.
Hmm.
Other than there was, I think, one time he burrowed, but he had
Yeah,
like 8 or 9 lurkers and some lings. That burrow was still a little questionable, pretty easy to surround, but yeah, he was just kind of walking around with the lurkers and not really,
accomplishing much.
instead of using lings to pay attention to where Terran was, it was like
Yeah,
he was using to pay attention to where Terran was.
absolutely. So definitely questionable decisions there as well. And both players with the lack of expansions, when either player instead of dancing around the middle could have had map control at different parts in the game and used that map control to expand. But neither player expanded, and neither player gained the map control that they had the opportunity to do so at multiple occasions. So because of that, I'm going to give Genji a C minus on this game. So let's move on to game three. We have Proboa versus Snowthroat, and this is the deciding game three of the BO3. Uh, so this is we just saw Proboa play. I'm actually really curious to see his PVZ, because I've only seen his PvP and PvT I think recently, and he
I
has been
think.
practicing with a new coach Kororo for the team. Uh,
Oh, I remember that guy. He's been
yeah,
around for a while, since the original CPL. Actually, he was a student in the original CPL.
really, yeah. I think he got up to like C plus at some point, didn't
He
he?
did. He
Yeah.
did. Yeah, I think he started at like D plus, and then he got up to C plus or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, he was a pretty solid player. I played with BGH with him a couple of times last year actually.
Nice.
So yeah, he's recently back. Now he's coaching for the team. So Proboa probably gotten a little bit of a VZ practice recently. And Snowfruit is everyone's favorite shield battery Zerg. He had an incredibly entertaining game, the one that I sent you earlier actually, last week against Kix on Demian. So I recommend that you guys check that out from the previous cast. And now he's going to face up against Proboa on Fighting Spirit for game three.
I'm gonna get a glass of water, and I will let you know as soon as I'm back.
Okay, go ahead. All right, in the top left we have the orange Protoss Proboa, and on the bottom right we have the Snowfruit, the white Zerg, and we have Coach Kororo watching his students. So now my suspicions are confirmed. We do have in fact a coach of Kororo who is going to watch his student, see how he performs, and I'm not going to insinuate stream cheating, but I was going to make a joke, but I'm not going to even make a joke. Kororo is a good dude. He's not going to do that. So, solo cast time. All right. So, how you guys feeling today? What's good with y'all? How's the weather where you live? It's kind of sunny where I live. And Probo looks like he's gonna send his 8th probe out. Oh no. Probo looks like he's gonna go for a one base build. Interesting. And meanwhile, Snowfruit sending his Overlord I think he kind of went diagonally first by accident, and then now he's sending it to the near natural. Kororo, only advice he gave us, stop being bad, Kappa. One base PVZ on FS. Yo, Evil Eye, don't knock it. This is I've played this for like 2 years and it's really fun. Like if not effective, it's at least fun. I can tell you that much. I like to go for Sair Reaver on one base. You get a shuttle speed, Reaver, a Sair, and then depending on what Zergs does, you can do a Dragoon bust after, or you can expand with your second Reaver while you're harassing with the first. A lot of Zergs up to sea level don't have the APM to keep up with you. Harassing with the Corsair in one place, dropping with a Reaver in another place. And it's kind of a psychological factor, but in the meantime, we do see, looks like it was an overpool. And looks like, yeah, probably going to be a hatchery soon. We do see the gateway and we do see the gas from Proboa. Interesting, I wonder if Kororo suggested this build to Proboa, or I wonder if Kororo's shaking his head right now. I really like this drone hide from Snowfruit. It's going to prevent the probe from denying his hatchery. And
Evil Eye says one base PVZ on FS. Jesus Christ.
I was just telling him how that used to be my go-to for a while, especially during my Game Ranger era. And he is getting the cybernetic score. So, no Zealot out yet. No Lings out either, so pretty good choice here. He just went for the cybernetic score. He knew he was relatively safe. He could delay the Zealot. Still needs the pylon. Yeah, he needed the pylon before this probe, actually. Now he's going to be supply blocked for a while. And meanwhile, Snowfruit going for pure drones, knowing that there's no threat to him off of one gate with a late Zealot. So both players doing a good job of reading. And Mekami asked if this is game 2. No, this is the deciding game 3 of the series. They're apparently 1-1 leading up to this. And let's see what Snowfruit opts for. Snowfruit opts for a gas before third hatch. And actually the third hatch is coming soon anyway. So I like this choice from Snowfruit. Keep things simple. Stay 2 base against a 1 base Protoss. Makes it easier for you to defend against whatever bullshit Protoss decides to throw at you. Because there could I've seen Sair DT on 1 base. I've seen Sair Reaver on 1 base. I've seen Dragoon. Is this Faust playing, says Evil Eye. Why? Because you thought that there was going to be a proxy hatch? Well, not today.
Is Faust known for this?
Yeah, Faust is the proxy hatch king.
Yeah, okay.
And I like the fact that this drone stayed alive for a while, and he's going to continue to stay alive. And it's kind of maybe forced Proboa to delay whatever tech he thought he was going to throw. Oh, the 2 hatch placement. I feel like this is pretty good. This is good hatch placement, especially against the 1 base Protoss, 1 base Zerg. And looks like, yeah, so now he's finally going to be able to throw down what he wants to throw down. Whether it's robotics, gateway, citadel, we're going to find out which direction this Protoss is going after the Sair. And whatever it is, it's going to be heavily delayed, in my personal experience. No, in ZVT, he places his third hatch like right here, like right next to it for no reason.
Oh, that's a weird place to put your third hatch, unless
Yeah.
it's a mech opener or wraith opener. Sometimes you'll do that.
Faust is like, yeah, I don't care for mind games, I just play. Alright, so we're sending a link here. I like this awareness from Snowfruit. Snowfruit's going to try to run up the ramp and see what's going on here. And it is going to be a robotics facility, but it's so incredibly delayed right now. It's definitely going to run into a lot of trouble.
He needs a spore so bad. He's going to lose a bunch of overlords right now. He doesn't even have an Evo chamber.
Evo chamber, yeah, no Evo chamber, but the Hydroden's on the way. He messed up his wall a little bit.
He's going to lose at least 2 overlords at a minimum.
Yeah, especially, yeah, maybe. So, not the best, I guess. The Hydroden definitely a little bit later than it should be, but that's because the layer's coming up earlier. We do see 2 gate actually, so I think this is going to be a Reaver bust now instead of a regular Reaver harassment option here. It's probably going to be a 3 gate Dragoon, 1 Reaver
Another
to
thing
bust.
I want to mention with these overlords is knowing that you're in danger of losing 2, like, he's just let the overlords wander. He should have redirected those overlords closer to a place where Hydra were spawning to give him that much better of a chance of saving them.
Absolutely.
You know, now it's like for sure he's already lost 2.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one thing I would do is, his Overlord on top of the natural of Proboa, even though it's in a good place in terms of finding out what's coming at you, you kind of put your Overlord in a place where Protoss doesn't check, because you have to think about how Protoss thinks. Like the first thing I would check is I would check all the perimeter of the map. Go. Then I would check the place outside my natural. But now he's actually going to see this army moving out, so this is going to be interesting. There is a
He's gonna go
shuttle on
full
the way.
Bisu. He's gonna go full Bisu. Oh, he gets away. Sorry, I have to make fun of Bisu after his pitiful
Oh, well,
performance last night.
no spoilers, please. That just happened like 12 hours ago.
I guess that's fair.
All right, so bunch of emergency sunkens being thrown down. I like this choice from Snowfur. I mean, he doesn't really have much else of an option. Zerglings being made as well. No lurker upgrades. He is getting a Spire. Spire is generally pretty much the auto win against Reaver builds, but with the fact that there's 2 Gauge Dragoons, he might have enough actually.
Oh, is he going Reaver?
Yeah, he is definitely going. He is absolutely going Reaver. Yeah, but he's not going for the
That
bust.
makes
He's.
me. I mean,
What were you gonna say?
if like Protoss was gonna play for like Reaver aggression, I don't know how much I like throwing down a bunch of Sunkens to defend because static is usually not so great against a Reaver.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that there's Reaver yet, unfortunately. He only knows that there's a decent ground
Yeah, I guess
army.
that's true.
He's probably thinking that it's going to be straight up Dragoon pressure. But I like this. Oh, this is so good. Run in with the Zerglings, find out exactly what Protoss is doing. Wow, that's
He
incredible.
sees the shuttle too and the support base, so he should be able to
Yeah.
anticipate this.
And he's making Scourge, but I would have liked to see Mutalisks as well. Oh, but he's supply blocked still from those early Overlords. He actually ended up losing 3
It was the
because
natural Overlord that supply blocked him. He just
Yeah.
lost that.
And oh, we're seeing drones now. Ooh, I'm not sure about this decision. I would have loved to see Mutalisks instead. Mutalisks,
Something that has mobility. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if he scourges the shuttle like right away, he might be okay. But if Proboa doesn't make a mistake, this Reaver.
yeah. And
Pull the Dragoon back. Be careful. That shuttle is really isolated though. 3 Scourge, we get it so easily.
ooh, ooh, poor drones. And this,
He's having some Reaver difficulties right now.
yeah, definitely not the best of control right now from Probo.
Oh, don't just go for it, man. Don't just go for it.
He's being mad impatient with this. I don't see the advantage of this. And Mulisks are on their way. If he kills enough of these Dragoons, these Mulisks are going to do hella work right now. And
Yeah.
Snowfruit doing a good job being patient, not really forcing the issue. Oh,
This looks a little bit dangerous though.
no, he's fine now. He's more than fine, I think. 3 Hydra. Oh, he needs to use the Mulisks now though. Oh, the Scourge is coming in for the shuttle. And now he can pick off the Reaver and then it's over. Oh, I like this shot, this Reaver shot from Probo though. He killed the larva on this hatchery. If he takes out this hatchery, that might actually be almost worth it. But no, I don't think he's gonna have the time. He's actually just running around with it. It looks like Probo just really did not have a build very well figured out. I feel like this is kind of like the oh shit, I forgot to send my probe to make a pylon at my natural build. You know what I mean? Like oh damn, I gotta think of something quick. And
Is that what you think happened?
yeah, I think that might have been
really
because the way that he's doing this really did not make much sense. You know what I mean? Like at least given my experience with this style of build, it didn't make a lot of sense at all. And one thing that's important to note, during that whole entire engagement, I missed this. I'm so sorry. Probo is down to 7 probes because there was 2 lings in the main base, and he wasn't
Oh
paying
no
attention.
shit! They kept killing the probes.
Yeah, no, though they ran away for a minute to regain health because they were both in the red. I looked at them earlier, but during that engagement, Snowfruit multitasking sends the lings in and kills a lot of the. Yeah, wow. And I don't think
Reaver pops out though,
yeah.
but he's gonna go directly assassinate it.
Oh, wow. Oh my god. Sending the lings there was definitely a huge mistake. Holy shit. Now the Reaver's safe in the shuttle. Yeah, that was a big flub by Snowfruit. He definitely could have won the game right then and there if he just ran the Zerglings towards the main base, towards the mineral line, I think, and kept the Mulisks on the Reaver. That's the, I guess, like, you know, the assignment of tasks that would have been optimal here. And it looks like Snowfruit realizes, oh shit, wait, there's this Reaver in a shuttle. Maybe I should go kill that shit. And he does see it with the Zergling. The shuttle is running back and is going to fly right into the Mutalisk pack. Oh no! Oh, he's been aware. Oh no, but he realizes. Oh, does he?
Oh, God. The shuttle is in big danger. One more shot and it's down.
Oh, I would have loved if he finished off the Reaver as well. He should have known how much damage he did to it, but too little, too late. And meanwhile, Snowfruit is taking his 4th base.
Fourth?
3rd base, sorry. 3rd base, 4th hatch. I mean, I'm not really sure that's necessary at this point. Even he is only on 20. Well, he just got up to 25 drones. He could be just saturating his base and trying to. He could honestly just win the game right now if he makes units. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean the problem here is Protoss has not many probes and
yeah, he knows.
Without a natural.
Not just that, it's the fact that he has no anti-air. So I'm surprised that Snowfruit didn't go harass the probes with the What I would do is I would harass the probes with the Mulisks and then send the Zerglings to run up the ramp while that's happening, because he's obviously going to pull the Dragoons back to their mineral line. Oh man. Okay, so let's talk about that game a little bit. Let's talk about the Protoss again. I'm gonna take the lead here for a second because I do this kind of build very often, and well, I used to do this kind of build very often. I'm gonna tell you straight up, you definitely don't want to wait that long to have your Robo and your Reaver out. I understand that that the drone was in there and that forced you to try to hide what you're doing, but even then, I feel like it was very late, and he didn't really do much with it. Like his decision making on what to do with the Reaver, not the best. I mean, he went to bust Sunkens, but he sacrificed half of his army to the Sunkens without using his Reaver for it. He definitely had a
Yeah,
window of time to do more damage with it, but it was mismicroed. So I definitely feel like that this build was underprepared and like half baked. You know, it felt like it was done because he forgot to send that probe. That's how I started doing that build in the first place because I consistently started forgetting to, and that's how I slowly started optimizing it. So I'm gonna give probe a solid D for his performance there. And
yeah. I mean, yeah, just the build wasn't that great, and the execution was honestly pretty
poor.
poor at natural. Like there's just like the Reaver wasn't really doing much. His units were alternating between diving in and out. It just,
hmm
yeah, it wasn't that great.
Now Snowfruit, I actually have a lot of good things to say about Snowfruit in that game. He made the right decision, I believe, for going 3 hatch 2 base against a 1 base Protoss. Sending those Zerglings in to scout what the Protoss is doing was a really clutch move. Sunken colonies were a safe option because oftentimes Protoss, what they will do is go for like a three gate Dragoon bust off of 1 base. So definitely a lot of good things from Snowfruit in that game, and obviously the game-winning 2 Zerglings that were in his base. But in terms of mistakes, I think we both mentioned that. Well, no, you mentioned. I'm sorry. What was it? I'm
Um,
trying to remember what it was you said.
oh,
It just
Overlords.
slipped my mind. Yeah, the Overlords. Yes.
Like if
No.
your Overlords are getting attacked and your Hydra are pretty close to popping, number one, you want to kind of spread the Overlords out just a little bit so they're not all taking damage from the stairs. But then you want to kind of have the Overlords head in a direction where your Hydras are going to spawn, so that those slow Hydras can get out and defend them faster.
hmm Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're just going to lose extra Overlords needlessly if they wander the wrong way.
Yeah, as a result of that, I feel like he made the situation much more dangerous than it should have been. He had all the right things going for him, and Probo was making the right mistakes, but because of the fact that he was supply blocked so consistently, didn't have Mutalisks out in time, Hydra count was incredibly low. Drones were, missing at certain key times because of the supply block, so I feel like everything just kind of slowed him down because of his Overlord management in that case, and that's something that he can improve relatively easily. So with all those things considered, I'm content to give Snowfruit a C plus for that game. Well played overall, but a few key errors kind of slowed him down a little bit. All right, so let's see. Now we have Mechami versus Arctimes games 4 and 5. Well, game 1 and 3 from their series. So Mechami, relatively newcomer to the league, Terran player, joined the same team that Probo is from, Team Stardom and the Plebs. Where the head coach is Lumix and the assistant coach is Phaser, so he's definitely getting a lot of Terran attention here. And Arctimes, we've seen quite a few games of his recently. His AKA's Fat
That
Reaver.
Reaver, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a solid Protoss, one of the better Protosses in the league for sure. So I'm interested to see how Mechami puts up against him. And the first game is going to be on Destination. Pretty infamous PvT map. There's been a lot of epic PvT maps on this game. I did a
I was
PvT
laughing at that wording. I was like,
PvT games on this map. So let's see how these players handle this matchup on this map.
Arctimes is Peruvian.
Yeah, I remember finding that out in his series against Probo. I was like, wait, because we were talking about like, oh, it's everyone's favorite Peruvian Protoss, and then Arctimes was in the chat. I think he says, yeah, I'm also Peruvian. I'm like, oh shit, Peru versus Peru, Protoss versus Protoss, and I might have just insulted Arctimes. And speaking of Arctimes, he's here in the bottom right as the purple Protoss Fat Reaver, and apparently purple is the OP color for Protoss according to the lore that I've been hearing recently from NHFFA and other associated peoples. And in the top left, we
I
have the
have
Teal Terran.
not heard this.
Yeah, Teal Terran is Mechami. So on this map, obviously mech is standard. Definitely not, most likely not going to see a deep 6 of some sort because of, again, the bridges makes aggressive play unfavored on this map. I feel like I have seen Terrans be actually quite aggressive, like with a 2-fac and then contain with siege mode, using the bridges, or deny the expansion with siege mode. Not as much
This is
aggressive. I'm sorry.
also just a great map for Terran to play split map on.
Not great for Terran to split map on.
No, so this is also a great map to play split map on.
Yeah.
Like, because like all Terran has to do is roll up at the bridges, siege some shit around each of the bridges, and then the 2 side bases can be sieged so easily from Terran's side of the map that it makes it really easy to keep Protoss 1 base less than you.
Yeah. And if you look at the high ground that has the wide ramp bridge, Terran can always push in that direction very easily and mine up the path behind him, making it really hard for Protoss to flank back. Whereas Protoss doesn't have that same luxury trying to engage into the Terran side of the equation here.
And of course, because the map is narrow, it makes it pretty easy to turret up and very difficult to get recalls off of.
Yeah.
So it really only leaves carriers as a late game option against Terran. And Terrans have gotten a lot better at dealing with those, honestly. And if that's the only option you have to worry about, it's a little bit easier to prepare for.
Now, one thing to be noted here is that the wall is not done properly on this map. I think this actually, yeah, this will actually finish up the proper wall, but for a second there, I thought that he might not realize that it wasn't properly walled. I guess the probe revealed that information to him. So let's see what the players are doing. We're seeing a wall off, 3 SCVs on gas, very standard from the Terran. Protoss going for the 14 Cybernetics core, and I don't see the pylon yet. But do you see it? Let me see. Oh,
No.
yep, found it. It's hidden in the other
gas.
base. Yeah, hidden. So we're going to see a Chizu. And I'm gonna place my money on Proxy Reaver.
I don't know if I'd quite call that cheese.
Well,
Because you're not really dead if I mean, if it gets scouted, you're in bad shape, but...
okay, so right off the bat, right at this moment, Mechami should be suspicious, right? Why? Because the Cybernetics core has been up for a while, right? And we don't see anything spinning. Not even pretending to go +1 air and fake that it's range, you know? He's not even trying to hide the fact that there's probably something else, yeah. And Mechami says no +1 air upgrading. He says it in the chat right now. Reads my mind. So he should be picking up on something here. And we should see it soon, though, or at least something. Dragoon, yeah, Dragoon first, actually. So even now, it's even later. You know, Mechami should know this. He's running around with SCV and scouting. I feel like a lot of people just walk around, scout, send their SCV because they think that that's what they should be doing. They don't really use a lot of the information that they are getting here. Another thing that would be noted at right now, in my opinion, would be like the absence of the 3rd pylon. If the Dragoon's on the way, probes being made, 3rd pylon should be up soon as well, and the 2nd pylon was late as well. Citadel's finished. Templar Archives a little bit late, perhaps.
Smidge. Unless he's just gonna do speed lots.
Yeah, that's fun also. Oh, he went for Robo before Templar Archives.
Okay.
I don't like that choice. I mean, if you think about it, if you have to think about it mathematically, right? You need to make Templar Archives and then a DT, and then you have to make a Robo and a shuttle, right? So I would say that, yeah, actually you made it really soon afterwards, so it's not too bad. Robo is more standard of a shuttle.
Slightly more sense to get the Robo first, because that way you can start the shuttle. Templar Archives finished to start the DT, and they both finished close to the same time.
I think that I'm trying to remember what the build times are. We can actually compare.
Drop, so
yeah, actually Templar Archives looks like it does.
it's faster than Robo for sure. Templar Archives is.
You're right. So let's see what Mechami is doing about this. He's making his command center. He's still going siege tank. He's getting siege mode now. I don't think he got mine. He still has 3 SCVs on gas.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I mean, he put 3 SCVs back on gas, so he's doing the proper build for a siege expand. But I don't think that...
Oh, SCV! Is it gonna see it? Nope. He's maybe suspicious, though, because, I mean, let's face it, he's running SCV all around the map.
Yeah. And the two DTs are out, and I have to say Mekami is in trouble. He's producing pure siege tank. He is getting the engineering bay though. I I would say it's a little bit late. I think you should start your engineering bay right after your command center. After you throw down your command center, I feel like, because you can't. You have to be safe, especially if you
Oh, that
suspect
was
something's up.
perfectly timed. Wow, his shuttle popped out right as the DTs popped. That was like ridiculously nicely timed between all three things.
Nice. Yeah, I was a little bit suspect, but I guess Fat Reaver knows better than I do on this case.
Is he gonna fly over the
Oh,
probe? Nope. Okay.
oh wait,
SCV.
wait, wait. Second attempt. Second passing.
It might still.
Oh
It
my
might
god.
still pass.
Oh my god. No, he
The shuttle
recognized it.
saw it, but I don't think the SCV did. He changed the path of the shuttle once he
Yeah.
saw that the
Oh,
SCV.
but the turret's still coming up.
Oh,
Nice,
paying
nice. He
attention.
definitely had to see it that time. And
Oh, if
turrets
he's
are
looking at
going
his
up.
mini-map. But where's he putting the turrets? Oh, that is putting turrets like he thinks it's gonna be a Reaver. That's really bad positioning for DT. Unless you're gonna put up so many, the shuttle just can't get in.
Oh, Mekami
He
says
just
that he saw it. Oh, but the
he
DTs are gonna
saw
get
it.
in. Yeah, this can. Oh,
Oh, just run past, run past. Run past. He's got turrets in the edge. Edge turrets like that are not the best response against DTs.
Yeah.
Especially if you know it's DT, build your turrets closer to mineral lines.
and it looks like Mekami is
then
aware of
the
this. He's building a turret
DT
here,
is right
but
there.
Arc times he's not making. He committed way too late to going to the middle line, and this turret is gonna
Yeah,
finish up in
It's
time.
gonna finish for sure.
Yeah, and
Oh, but
Mekami,
he can
but
still harass the timeline.
yeah,
He
but
could also split and go one to the natural. Like he could definitely kill the tank at the natural, I think.
let's see. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing here. Actually, no turrets. Well, not enough turrets at least to have full coverage.
But this is comfortably held. The DTs won't do any crazy amount of damage at this
Absolutely.
point.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time though, he did have to build about 10 turrets. You know,
That was overkill, though. That was overkill.
7 in the main and 1 in natural, 8 turrets. So definitely a
The
little
turret
bit.
ring is too much response to a shuttle.
Yeah, and one thing that I would like to see right now, yeah, I was about to say the academy should be started right now. He does have a lot of money in the bank already. I mean, he has a faster command center than the next is just finished for Fat Reaver, so he could be capitalizing on this a little bit more right now. I feel like by adding more factories, making depots, and it looks like he's supply blocked. Yeah, and Mekami says no turrets where I really need them. I feel like, yeah, see right now he's like building this turret back here, and I don't think he really needs it. And he's gonna lose it.
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's more money. He lays a mine down, risky mine.
Not near the SCVs, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Not
could
just-
suddenly make a DT drop worth it. Oh, the DTs are now killing the perimeter turrets.
Oh god. Yeah, so Fat Reaver definitely being very annoying to Mekami here. And Mekami, I mean, I feel like he's just so oh, yeah, I was about to say, he's just so flustered. He isn't doing anything. He has money, right? He
Just lifted his CC.
Yeah, he was trying to make the Comsat station, right? He's not doing he's not making SCVs. His factory is idle. He only has one factory. You know, like he's just flustered as hell. I mean, he did throw down a command center and he still has 600 minerals after that. I mean, Fat Reaver, he's not mining out of his main, he's microing his DTs. I mean, not mining out of his natural. But because he's the aggressor in this low level game, he has the advantage instantly. Like there's a certain aggressor's advantage in low level games, and being flustered like this definitely hurts him a lot. I mean,
Yeah, and I mean, I realize it's pretty easy to do. Like, it's kind of scary when all of a sudden you've got DTs in your main. You're like, holy shit, fuck, everything's dying. It's invisible. I don't even know where the bug is, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you just kind of have to sort of stay relaxed, realize that your important shit, your SCVs, you know, are safe, and just chill and wait till you have mines and scanners.
Absolutely. And then on top of everything, oh my god, this could be huge. Oh my god! Oh wow, that was actually a lot less damaging than I thought it could be. It could have been so much worse. And
Nice
scan.
scans. Oh, shoot, attack, attack, attack,
Yeah.
attack. All right, we got it. We got
Yes, so you actually got away from that without too much actual physical damage, but definitely a lot of mental damage happened to him there. He's still floating a
Pure
bunch of
ball.
money.
it. Has taken his third base with just pure balls. He's
Yeah.
got like no. It seems just like, I'll take the third base.
Yeah, I know that third base. That's that. Oh shit, I forgot to macro third base. And he's moving
I've
out
got
now.
800 minerals. What am I gonna do with it?
And he's moving out now, despite the fact that he
Don't have
knows
the
that
timing.
DT's on there on the map. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit risky. I mean, he's got a few scans, but
Oh, he just used one and he ran out of it. Let's see. Yeah, he just used it up. Trying to push with turrets out. Oh, I guess that one ran into the turret range, maybe. Nope, that was probably scanned. Anyway, so just now he's throwing down. So imagine if he had these 4 factories like 3 minutes ago. how much scarier this Terran would be right now. This would be a really scary push, I think, if he had 4-fac 3 minutes ago and he wasn't fucking around making depots and turrets and all
Yeah,
this other
that's
stuff.
pretty strong against Protoss if Protoss can't delay you decently for DTs for Arbiters.
And speaking of Arbiters, we do have a Stargate and an Arbiter Tribunal, but I guess not enough gas. The third gas looks like it actually has been up for a decent amount of
He's
time,
got
but
enough gas. He's just not making an Arbiter. I hope
yeah,
he starts one soon.
yeah, now he's making Zealots. Let's see, does he have speed?
There's an Arbiter.
Yep.
Like speed, probably not yet. If he's going fast arbs, probably not.
Yeah. So, Mekami kind of looks like he is starting to try to set up his side of the map. Kind of curious about this tank movement, though. I don't know exactly what he's trying to do. He's moving to this.
Probably trying to think about what's safest for his third base. One thing I will say is that most of the time, from what I remember on this map, Terran would actually take the third on the other side,
Yeah.
because you just siege your army between the two bridges and start setting up a defensive position there, and that would secure the third across the bridge. And then when you got a big army, you know, you could easily go and secure your fourth and fifth.
Yeah, and on top of that, there's actually, I mean, you pretty much walk across the ridge right here, as you were saying, and then you could park siege tanks on the high ground behind it. And the siege tanks on the high ground behind it almost reach to the bridge of that third base. It's absolutely absurd when you try to punish that third base. Because, like, my PvT playstyle revolves around, what's called, preventing the third base, and on this map it's so difficult. But Protoss himself
That was kind of my style I like to play on this map. Was I didn't necessarily try to prevent the third, but I always tried to prevent Terran from like securing the bridges.
Yeah, from moving out. Yeah, no, that's what you have to do here. And Protoss unfortunately ceded that option as soon as he went for DT and a third base. He didn't really follow up with enough army to prevent this move out from happening. I'm liking this play from Mekami, though. He's spreading out his tanks a little bit. I would like to see a little bit more of a spread out, and I don't think he needs to be just this far forward. He could be a little bit further back and have some high ground siege tanks as well. And a good move here as well, starting to lay mines by his third base. SCV production is going on nicely. He's actually 10 SCVs ahead of Fat Reaver, who's kind of been slacking on the pro production. And all things considered, 6 gate against 5 fac, I'm definitely favoring the Terran player.
Yeah. Although the fact that there's arbiters out is kind of a difference maker.
I feel like, yeah, and Mekami has been using his scans at least a little bit, it seems like. I wonder if he knows... Oh, wait, oops, that's not what I wanted.
Of course, he does not have even a starport. He just starts one now that he saw the arbiter with those volts.
Oh, he saw it? Yeah, okay.
Just now saw it. Yeah, he flew under some invisible zealot, or drove some vultures under some invisible zealots.
Does he have a third comp set? Yeah, he does. He has...
That third base is so vulnerable. If he just sent, like,
yeah,
4 lots up there, it'd be super annoying.
I was complimenting him on the fact that he laid the mines, but he only laid one. And it's not even really in the most obvious entrance path. Well, actually, I guess it's not bad, but still, you definitely need more here. And it is a harder base to defend. Starport is on the way. I would like to see more turrets now. Definitely around the perimeter as he was making them before, considering the fact that he knows he has no way of dealing with his Arbiter until he has a vessel, which won't be for a while. And, I mean, looking just at the supplies, I would say that Mekami is in a pretty decent position actually still. I like the fact that he added Goliath. Now he sees the Arbiter out. 5 factories pumping. No upgrades on the way. Actually, +1 is on the way. I lied. Maybe conserving gas. Ooh, this is actually a problem. This turret is messing up his pathing for his gas in his natural, and he only has 2 SCVs in it. So this is gonna hurt him big time for a long time.
Yeah, that is like a big long trip.
And he only has 1 in his third gas as well. So he's on 3 gas, but he's mining about 1.6 gas. You know, so it's kind of it's gonna hurt him big time. I mean, he needs Vessel right now, he needs EMP, he needs Goliath range, and he needs both mech upgrades. This is a very gas intensive time for him, and he's just not getting the amount of gas he needs. And he's just now added the third SCV.
He also only has 1 SCV on his third gas.
Yeah, that's what I said that earlier. He has a total of 6 SCVs on 3 gas, and 2 of them are ineffectual, and oh god.
Oh, we have the recall!
No mines, no defensive mines laid.
So many Protosses.
Yeah.
EMC just like tend to lose arbiters.
And also, he's just moving his vultures right now, but I think it would have been so much more effective if he was laying mines. Mekami
Also,
says
this
we.
is another thing that's worth noting is we are talking about how there were no tanks positioned on the high ground. In this particular case, if you would have had 2 or 3 tanks on the high ground, they would have been a lot quicker to come over here and help
Yeah,
deal with this recall rather than having to unsiege and walk all the way across 2 bridges and up a ramp.
absolutely, definitely true. And
And this recall is doing an obscene amount of damage in part because the command center wasn't lifted and the SCVs have not run away.
yeah, that's definitely true. And he's actually making SCVs out of it. He's like, shit, I'm not gonna
Oh,
save
he's
these.
gonna
I'm just gonna.
assassinate the vessel! Oh no!
That hurts.
That was a bit of a mistake. Vessels are pretty important.
Okay.
Oh, but he's gonna counter push. This is... Oh, okay, send some tanks back, and I guess since it's only Dragoons, it'll be okay, but sometimes this can go really bad for Terran.
Yeah.
Because Terran tends to need more babysitting, and attention is an issue at this level.
And no,
So yeah, you can see he's just running down here on A move. Look at this. Into this is why this is so risky to do. You can see he just walked his army down. He can't see. He's got a super late scan. Oh, that was rough.
ouch.
I can't disagree with the theory, but the
Yeah.
problem is for a lot of people having the mechanics at that level to execute something like that is hard.
Yeah, especially with no vessel as well. Just not having the vision, and it looked like he straight up 1A'd. The only thing that prevented him from being in a full conga line was the fact that he encountered a few zealots along the way there. Otherwise, he was literally going to stream in 1 vulture at a time. But it looks like the main did get cleaned up now. The Arbiter is safely tucked away in the top left. Let's see what's the vessel situation at. We have.
We got another recall. Boom!
Oh
right
my
back
god!
to the main. And this time he's got storms. Let's see what he chooses to do with those storms.
Oh, he only has 1 storm actually, and he kills 1 SCV with it. There was really not much for him to do there.
Just 1? I thought it was 2, but
No, the other one has only 50 energy. Maybe he cast it
I
already.
thought he got like 2 SCVs, but either way.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he did cast it. My fault. So yeah, 4 SCVs killed, and yeah, Mekami is just crumbling. I feel like he just never mentally recovered from that early situation. Like as soon as he got into a position where he wasn't crumbling, he was starting to get recalled. You know, he was getting his push denied, playing paranoid. And even though he was playing like he was in a worse position than he actually was, more or less.
And honestly, he probably thought he was. I think there's a tendency to, especially when there's like DTs in your bases and you hear shit getting attacked for so long, you tend to think, oh my god, like all this damage, I'm pent up in here, DTs are attacking me, like, oh fuck, this game's not going well. But honestly, like you gotta remember, Protoss crimps his economy and expends a lot to get those DTs. So if you defend and don't lose too many SCVs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a major sacrifice for Protoss, and the earlier that it's dropped in your base, the more of a sacrifice, you know, Protoss made. You know that Protoss, you know, can't have much of an army. That's 1. You know that Protoss doesn't have a Nexus. That's 2. You know that he went for both Templar and Robo off of 1 base, so he really does not have much gas at all. Maybe he doesn't have range yet. You know, there's so many things that Protoss sacrificed and the corners that he cut in order to get those DTs in your main so quickly. So considering the fact that you're, you know, on 2 base, have an engineering bay, turrets coming up soon, and yeah, Carmunch says the biggest Terran mistake was not adding factories on time. We'll get to the summary later.
Yeah, I don't know if I would 100% agree with that. But
Yeah.
If he was intending to do a timing, that was definitely a big mistake. But if he was just looking to take a third, it's less of a mistake.
And it looks like the Protoss has discovered the top right base, and that's going to spell disaster for the Terran player.
All right, and he's going to use his 2 arbiters up here to cycle. This time there are some mines, but unfortunately the mines are not where the arbiter's going, and that is a really small recall though.
Yeah.
A little baby recall, but super annoying, I'm sure. Like he's keeps trying to stabilize and relax the game, and then there keeps being these little recalls that are just picking away at shit. Oh, and the vessel spawns at the worst possible time to kill it.
But it's actually just chilling there. It does have a lower priority than an engineering bay.
The eBay. Yeah. No, the eBay's got to be targeted. Oh, and then he notices, he's like, I will save you, vessel.
Yeah. And oh no, more zealots streaming into the top right base. And one thing to know is like, what really supports what we were saying earlier about the fact that Protoss was never really that far ahead throughout the entirety of the game is like, just look at the supply. Protoss, you know, up until this recall did not have much of a supply advantage, and part of it is because of the macro issues. What? Go ahead.
I mean, it's a good job. Terran does defend his third base without taking too much damage. He lost a couple SCVs, but nothing more.
But I feel like mentally at this point he's kind of wrecked. Like, I would be super wrecked right now, honestly. I would probably quit. I mean, this third base is what's keeping him alive right now, but how do you let's talk about this for a minute. How do we what's the what would you do next in this situation right now?
If I was Terran,
Yeah.
honestly, I think I would continue to mine up the top base, keep a vessel up there, and just try to take my fourth and fifth right now because I don't have the units to push, and
Hmm.
Protoss already has 4 bases.
Five
So
almost,
I would
yeah.
I would just say, hey, if I stabilize and can get to the bridges later on, this game is still fine for me. I just need to get a base or two up in mining and hold on.
Yeah, I would say that definitely start laying a lot more mines in the main base because the
Yeah,
main is really huge.
and
I'll admit
and
that. And go ahead, what
if
were you saying?
maybe he wasn't paying attention, but Mekami or whatever, or who's our Proboa had been taking. Is it
Fat
Proboa?
Reaver, Arc Times.
Fat Reaver, Archives. He'd been taking his arbiters and like saving them, but he was stashing them over there on top of that water or whatever it's that's back there.
Yeah.
But he had like two or three back there, so he like almost had infinite cycling. So
Hmm.
just like keep a vessel over there, and also in addition to the mines, try to keep the EMPs off because if you can keep the recalls out for 2 or 3 minutes, you'll stabilize. And
Absolutely.
if you get another base or two while doing so, then you're back into a fine position. You're on equal bases with Protoss, and this is a map that I honestly feel like is pretty favorable for Terran in the late game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of that. Definitely EMP earlier would have helped a lot. But but now that he has no eBay, I feel like he's just gonna give up on defense. And whoa, hold up. Yo, he killed his own command center with a siege tank.
Accidentally targeted. Oh, we got a small Protoss attack over to the right
Oh my
base,
god, I can't believe I
which
missed
is
that.
going to shut it down, and there's no tanks coming up with it, so he needs to get tanks over here. But he's probably scared to do it since he's been getting recalled so much.
Yeah, and he knows that the Protoss knows about that
Oh,
base.
actually, somehow these Dragoons are softened up enough that I think the Vultures are just. Oh, but the SCVs or the Zealots have already killed all the SCVs.
Yeah.
Now it's starting to look bad. Honestly, where you pause it, I felt like Terran was still in an okay spot. Maybe not great, but okay. But
Yeah.
now it's starting to look bad.
Yeah, now that he killed his own command center with his siege tank and he lost all those SCVs, oh my god, he really just fell apart. Like I said, like he really just. And now this recall is gonna come in. I feel like I see him clumping it up, and the arbiter's moving. And oh, actually, it got EMP'd. This is exactly what he should have been doing earlier if he had an earlier vessel. The engineering base still not up though. Definitely needs to finish that if he hopes to build turrets. And he's actually building a new base, reproducing SCVs, which is quite nice for him right now. And he looks like he's gonna go for a desperate push here. Without a Goliath even, I feel like this is not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, those Arbiters are just gonna have free reign. And Protoss should just have a little too much eco for this push to be effective.
Yeah, speaking of the Protoss eco, he's a little bit low on probes actually. I mean, being on 4 base, going up to 5, and being on 56 probes, I feel like he's slacking off a little bit, maybe being a little bit too comfortable right now. But this push is gonna get
Oh, it's
crushed.
still
Yeah.
flanked. Yeah, it's gonna get wrecked.
Yeah.
Especially there's Templar in there and everything. Oh my god.
Oh
That's just
god. Yeah. And one thing that all right, so Mekami, oh the no GG, the rudeness. Oh goodness. Well, one thing that should be noted is that Mekami did win game 2. That's why they're going to game 3. And Mekami says that he played game 2 pretty much perfectly. It's just that these were the games that were recommended to me, so that's why we're casting them. Anyway, so it must mean that game 2 was such a crushing defeat for Arc Times that it was not recommended. So I'm just gonna put it out there.
Mekami's like rage quitting is not that BM. Come on.
It's not
I
GM.
mean, no, it's not. But it's just fun to rag on.
Yeah, it's being not GM is pretty much being BM in by Korean standards. I'm pretty sure. Um, so we're going into game 3 now. It's gonna be on Jade, which is a clearer choice from Arc Times, I believe. This map is great for PvT. I feel like Mekami is definitely gonna struggle a little bit against the reverse ramp bases here. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna need to take like a 3 or 4 minute break right now. I need a nature calls, let's say. So I'm gonna be right back. In the meantime,
All
we
right.
have a question and answer session with Elmaster, unless he has to go do something as well too. So if you guys have any,
No, I can sit here. I
yeah,
can sit here and chill.
Protossers or questions, you guys can go ahead and do that. And in the meantime, I'm going to also include. Oh wait, no, before I. Yeah, all right. We'll do the ratings after I come back. In the meantime, I'm gonna put up this so people have something to see. Why is it? Why, okay, is that no?
I don't even know what you're doing because I don't have the stream open.
Yeah,
I just know you're up to something.
I'm trying to when I broadcast, I try to what's called I put up a VOD and
Oh, okay.
like I play a YouTube VOD more or less.
It would be funny if you would have just like stalked my Facebook and found like the most awkward pictures of me, and it was just like a slideshow of like awkward El Mazur pictures.
I remember when in your comeback thread, your caster comeback thread, I went through your Facebook and I was like, yo, how mean do I want to be? And I decided to be nice.
I'm
Right.
sure I have some weird photos in it.
All right. Anyway, I'll be right back. 3 to 5.
So Mekami says, I'd never seen Create. I was looking it up before my first depot. Oh, that sounds like a difficult way to play a map. Oh, I don't know how it is for you guys, but I know for me, if I'm playing a map that I haven't played before, it's like, it's a fucking nightmare. Like, some people seem to be able to adjust and like play maps they haven't played, other than maybe just not knowing like where to go or move stuff. But like, I don't know. I feel like I have to think so much if I don't know the map. Like, everything falls apart. I can't macro. I mess up my build. Like,
병력이 또 이렇게 남아 있으면 뭐 결국은 다 정리를 하긴 하겠습니다만 신경을 한 번 더 써야 되고 본진 안쪽에 한 번 건드렸으니까 11시에 가서 또 이레디 왕창 쓰고 넣고 잡아먹었다 했는데요. 위쪽에 드라스 떨어지고 네, 건물이 막고 있습니다.
I used to know how to move this out of the thing. Right now, I can only click on my StarCraft. But I guess I can just alt tab too to be able to see chat. Although right now, apparently not. Everybody's quiet. This is where I should just be obnoxious and just get like a giant bullhorn and just blare it through the mic, make everybody leave and be like, what is wrong? Either that or I don't know it, and Jealous actually muted me, which would be funny too.
저글링밖에 없었습니다만은 탱크 숫자를 어느 정도 이제 줄이는 이런 상황이 만들어졌고요.
Oh, he's got a Korean VOD going. Okay. Oh, but you can hear me over it. That's interesting. Okay. So that just runs, and then I can talk over it. Just say all the wrong things possible. Just like watch the VOD and add really terrible commentary that makes no sense. But I guess nobody's in a chatty mood, so if nobody has questions, we can just wait for Jealous to get back, and then we'll move into our next game, which is on Jade.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back.
Everybody's terrified. Chat didn't say a word while you were gone. I tried to talk to him, but it was just like talking to a void, so.
All right. Well, let's quickly go over the main issues in that game and give the grades out for that game. I would say that let's start with the Terran Mekami. So clearly he knew what he was doing. You know, like he was following a pretty standard build. He reacted okay. Like, you know, he reacted to what he found and he was scouting around, which shows a lot of intellect and game knowledge. But the reaction was a little bit subpar, and then after that, I feel like he just crumbled. You know, all of his everything from that after that DT drop was just like tilted, you know?
I don't. I guess I'm trying to decide if I feel like everything. I feel like he was sort of okay. I mean, like I said, some of it is I don't know how well he knows destination for his positioning and stuff like that. But he seemed like he was setting up at third base, and it looked okay up till there. And then that recall happened, and then I think after that, he made the decision to counterattack. Which, like I said, if you have the multitask and the comfort and the execution for that counterattack could have been pretty good. But unfortunately, he basically A moved into a cloak Protoss and
Hmm.
A moved to defend the recall. And so the recall defense worked, but probably not as efficiently as it could have. And the army was just donated.
Hmm.
And then after that, he was kind of like just couldn't recover and probably was maybe a little bit tilted and just didn't get it back together. But I felt like there was sort of this point during the DTS where it's like, okay, we're kind of panicked, we're kind of overreacting, and he's like, all right, I cleared the DTS, and things sort of calmed down, and then the recall really kind of upset the game flow again.
True. I would have to agree with that. I mean, he did a good job of at least if we look at the game as outside observers, he's maintained a decent position for a great amount of time after the Protoss aggression. But I really feel like that it was the mentality that got damaged more so than his in-game position. So overall, I'm gonna give Mekami a C, mostly due to the fact that he kind of panicked. Now let's talk about arc times. Arc times, I feel like, I mean, he had a solid build. He executed it really well. The shuttle and DT timings were pretty much perfect, as you said. Um, he did good amount of damage. Didn't overcommit at any point with the DTs. I don't feel like. I feel like he maybe could have engaged the mineral line sooner instead of spending that time.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was a little bit of hesitation there, and honestly, to stop and kill outer edge turrets, like the turrets on the outside, just start dropping the DTS and just fly your shuttle into like the center of the base,
Hmm.
and if there's nothing there, then just start fucking shit up because like honestly, out of base turrets are not a very good deterrence for Terran, and if the Terran has built enough turrets around the base and also has turrets in the base, honestly, even if your DTS die, like Terran spent a lot in turrets that it's fine.
Hmm. Also, I feel like his follow-up game plan with the Arbiters was delayed a little bit too much. Like he could have had the Arbiter earlier. He also didn't make enough probes, and I feel like he could have maybe expanded earlier as well. He was on 3 base versus 3 base for quite some time, and even though he stayed aggressive and kept doing damage to Mekami, a little bit more multitasking. Obviously, we're asking for the ideal, not for what is, I guess, the most expected, but just a little bit of something that he could work on is, just clean things up a little bit. But overall, I thought it was pretty solid play for him. Um, I'll give him a B minus for that. All right, so moving into game three of Mekami versus Arctimes, after Mekami supposedly did the perfect Terran versus Protoss play. And yeah, Mekami SC says I had no idea where my third was supposed to go. We kind of covered that. We said that you should be taking the kind of the pocket
No,
third.
this was in reference to Jade. He said I'd
Oh.
never seen Jade, so I was looking it up before my first depot, just saying.
Oh, well, the third, I think the third in Jade is the most obvious choice. It's the one
Yeah,
that's connected to your natural.
yeah.
Generally, you can't take a different third with Protoss on this map. I mean, with Terran on this map. And speaking of Jade, let's get right into the game. In the top left, we have Fat Reaver, the yellow Protoss. And in the bottom right, we have Mekami, the blue Terran. And I realized I forgot something at the beginning of the cast. I was supposed to introduce you, so but now it's kind of late. But in case you guys don't know, this is El Master. He's the guy who started this league way back last year. Um, been around for a while, casting D ranks leagues, playing in D ranks and C ranks leagues, so on and so forth. So
That
this,
and back in the day when we had foreign tournaments, I casted some of those too.
yeah.
ISL, what was it? STL,
Hmm.
Nation Wars, some of that stuff too.
True, true. So yeah, definitely an
So
experienced caster here. So let's talk
back in the
about
hockey card era.
this map a little bit. So obviously it's a reverse ramp map, but I definitely feel like Fat Reaver made the right choice picking this map for a game three. If I was Protoss, I would pick this map out of the map pool for a game three, honestly, because Protoss can do so much aggressive stuff to Terran on this map. And one thing that a lot of Terrans I've noticed do is they try to go for a Raxafi to establish themselves on the high ground, and you can try to go for a little bit of an aggressive build, see if you can take advantage of that if they do that. And if they don't do that, then you can kind of camp on the high ground and prevent them from expanding for a while. So Protoss definitely has a little bit of a early game initiative, I feel like, on this map. And I feel like that might be why Megami is scouting so early. He's making sure that there's no crazy bullshit coming his way. And at the same time, he also made this Sim City at the at his main base with the depot to the right, to the left of the mineral, and the barracks to the left of the depot, which pretty sure is the correct Sim City here. It's in a good place as well, so definitely a good choice here.
Walk between there, defend the mineral line, and dodge so it's nice and easily. Yeah.
Yep. And meanwhile, Fat Reaver, he is looks like he's playing standard actually, going for the Cybernetics core. No zealot, nothing too aggressive. Meki's gonna find that out soon, and I still think that his early scout is warranted, especially in a game 3. It's better to be safe than sorry, I think, especially on a map that is in general favorable to Protoss. And he's actually double scouting, which I think this might be already a little bit too much of an investment now. Like, you don't need to double scout.
Double scout is great against Zerg because if you double scout, then you can place command center significantly faster. But against Protoss, it feels like overkill to me.
Yeah, now the probe and the SCV were doing they high-fived for a second, and Fat Reaver realized it, but Mekami did not. And I feel like Mekami realized it a little bit after the fact. No, he realized it because he made it to the Protoss base. So definitely try to be aware of the mineral line. And we do
another two gate no goon expand, or is this 10-15 gate? 10-15 gate, huh? Because the gate's mostly done. Most of your goon started.
Yeah.
So it's going to be some serious gateway pressure on reverse ramp.
What? Yo, Fat Reaver.
It's going to be fun for Mekami, especially with an open base.
Fat Reaver, I guess he got paranoid that maybe his choice was incorrect, and he scouted what's called the bottom left anyway after finding out. But Mekami, because of the early scout, he is aware of the 10-15 gate relatively early. And I played against Cryok recently, and Cryok did this great thing. Well, I mean, basically he did a 10-10 FD, and pretty much shut down my my 10-15 really easily by using the high ground. And then he brought an SCV around his third to make sure I wasn't coming up the small ramp. And by the time I ever got there with Dragoons, he had too much for me to do anything with my Dragoons. So
no, I gotta say, Mekami says playing improving protest, and you don't recommend double scouting. You crazy? And I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I disagree with that, in large part because honestly, what are you gonna see? You're just gonna see a Protoss. Like you're not really gonna change what you're doing that much. Like if your plan is basically to go FD, it doesn't really matter what you see from Protoss in the first 2 minutes. You're still gonna build your factory. You're gonna get your Marines. You know, you're not gonna change anything dramatically, and Protoss is not gonna let you see what he's doing beyond that. So, you know. It's just one of those things, like, you'll see it in enough time that there's nothing that you're going to change.
And this is actually kind of curious from him. He went for a command center. I feel like that's a little bit ballsy right now. He actually floated his racks as well, which cut Marine production for a minute. So this was definitely a ballsy decision from him. He did delay the Dragoon a little bit with his scouting SCV. And the Dragoon also doesn't take advantage of the situation, kind of walks up, sees nothing, and then walks away, comes back a little bit later. But now it's going to be too late for this bunker is going to be finished. Yes, it's gonna finish. So now there's a lot less of an aggressive position that Fat Reaver can take, but there is 4 goons walking across the map. No Nexus down, but the probe is there, wasting time.
Goon siege is on the way, so I guess they'll have siege.
Oh god! And at this crucial time, he's also distance mining because he mistimed his transition, and no siege tank on the way. Siege mode is on the way though, so I think he cut the siege tank to get siege mode, or actually I don't know what he cut the siege tank for because he had the money for it. But, oh my god, he needs the SCVs pulled now.
He's gonna dive on the tank and he's slow to react. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's terrible for him.
So many Marines. Oh, there's 3 in the bunker, though. Oh, if he gets them trapped. Oh, but they're getting by. I was like, oh, if he trapped them off, it'd be great.
Yeah, there was no trapping going on here, which is terrible. But he can trap with this one on the ramp, maybe? No, not enough SCVs there.
He gets 1, he gets 2.
Yeah.
But the problem is he doesn't have a siege tank, so reinforcing Dragoons are going to be a bit of a problem. Although 1 is very weakened, so he should... The fact he didn't leave a Marine in the bunker is a little bit rough because now more Dragoons can walk in with no penalty. Should probably always leave at least 1. But he does have a tank out, so I think he will clear his main out decently quick.
Yeah, one thing that, right here, one thing that could have prevented this whole thing from happening, especially if you know that it's going to be a 2-gate, is if he placed his a depot to the left of the bunker, that would have solved all of his problems, really. That would have made him impenetrable, more or less. And if he kept a few SCVs there as well, like, you're losing a little bit of mining time, but you're guaranteed fighting against a aggressive Protoss right now. You might as well leave a few SCVs just to instant repair the bunker if he does try to snipe it down. Now the bunker is going down to 1 Dragoon. 2 Dragoons here now, and this is going to get dicey for him again, just because he didn't leave the Marine here. And he's not repairing it. Oh, but he's going to be late. Is he going to be late? Oh, he got it.
3, he saves it.
The Dragoons can just walk by, though. I mean, I'm not sure if... Yeah, the tank is actually 50...
Okay.
Yeah,
but it worked out. It worked out.
Yeah, I feel like both players made a mistake there. The repair was late. He almost lost the bunker. He shouldn't have not had any Marines in there, and the Dragoons had no business just shooting at the bunker either. Like, I would have just walked past and be like, oh, I know I brought that siege tank down to like 40 health. That's 2 volleys. Game over, you know? So a little bit of a flub from both players here. But in the meantime, Fat Reaver did get his Nexus up, and he's actually still behind in probe count. I mean, 10-15 does put a strain on your economy a little bit, but I feel like he's not consistent with his probe production. I mean, he just added 2 to each Nexus right now, and he's at 3 at his natural. So he's kind of like double pumping them, you know, like pump, 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 instead of having constant stream of them. Mekami himself is actually kind of low on the, what's called? On the SCV count, on the SCV production, but he is going Armory and Academy and Alright, this might be a little bit overkill. I don't think you need Armory, Academy, and Engineering Bay at the same time. I can understand.
Yeah, especially not the Armory.
Yeah. Well, no, I would say you could pick between Academy and Engineering Bay, but Armory is a good idea, but I wouldn't say that you need both Academy and Engineering Bay.
I don't know. I tend to feel like in most cases, 2 base Armory is a little on the fast side, unless you know Protoss is going straight for Arbiters. Because like if you're gonna timing attack, especially like you just flat out don't need an Armory, because you're not gonna have upgrades for the timing attack.
True.
And if you're planning to expand, you know, a lot of times it's a little bit safer, a little more comfortable to get your... I mean, yeah, you're going to have fast upgrades, but it makes taking your third a lot more tricky. And I honestly, I'm trying to think of pro games, but I can't think of too many games I've watched outside of, you know, games where they suspect 1-gate Reaver, where I see them placing down like a 1 or 2 fact Armory.
Yeah, it was really popular against the Reaver openings mostly. And alright, so one thing about this map, you notice how Mekami is placing his turret right next to the ridge, right here. This is not, I would say, not acceptable. Like, because the Dragoons can just pump, like, take this turret out from the high ground before its heat shrink can even get there. So on this map especially, you kind of have to place your turrets a little bit back, and now we can kind of understand why he's playing so paranoid. I mean, he did get DT dropped in game 1. We don't know what happened in game 2, but maybe he's trying to be super safe anyway, and it looks like Fat Reaver's taking advantage of the map placement that he has, map position that he has, and he's taking his third base. And I feel like Megami had to cut a couple of SCVs somewhere in there in order to get all of this stuff up at the same time, get the Academy, get the scans, get the Engineering Bay, get the turrets, and get 2 factories up. I feel like he cut a few SCVs too many. He's down to 34 SCVs now. Fat Reaver now has 3 Nexuses to pump probes with. Hopefully he starts doing that. And actually he's only on 4 gate. Well, now he's adding the 5th and 6th, so good time. But Observatory, yeah, Observer's out and is going to check the factory count. This factory placement is it's interesting.
It's a little bit staggered. I guess it gets the job done.
Yeah.
I wonder if how it'll affect padding. I guess I don't know where they... I'm trying to think of where they even pop. If they pop on the left side, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's not the fact that they're gonna pop off in the wrong area. It's just, you know, it look like the aesthetic is interesting, you know.
We're used to nice like regular lines, and we're going for a diagonal line here.
Yeah.
Still easy out of macro. Still easy to macro out of though, so it works fine.
Unfortunately though, I don't think he's gonna be able to fit more than 6 or 7 factories on one screen with this.
I wonder how it works if you just go like 2 diagonal lines instead. I would think you could fit the same number as you could in a line. That's his refinery.
And in the meantime, while we were talking about aesthetics, he did manage to move out and secure his high ground, and it would have been nice if he had a command center behind this. He has the money for it. If he was sending his command center out.
I have no idea what you're showing on screen, but someone named One Eater or Zero Neater said, "Am I watching a spreadsheet or a video game?" I don't have a clue what the heck that even means.
He's talking about the fact that you can see everything, including the supplies and the unit counts and everything like that. And I told him it's because this is an educational broadcast, so we should be we should be looking at everything. Oh shit! All right, evil eye, clap back. The evil eye clap back is serious.
Okay. Mekami said he built his armory at like 36. I thought I saw 28, which
Oh.
is a pretty big difference. So
Yeah.
that's why I was talking about what I was talking about. If it was really more in the 30s after 2 factories, that's a little bit different.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we're seeing Zealot speed. I feel like, yeah, Fat Reaver's reacting to the fact that he sees Mekami out on the map. He thinks that a push is coming to punish him for his third base, but he has been up on 6 gate for quite a few minutes, though. So there is really no timing for Mekami to hit here,
Yeah.
and he's really risking
Yeah,
it
I'm
right
gonna
now.
say, yeah, this is risky from Mekami. I don't know if this is to secure his third, but this army shouldn't be out here. Okay, and he's moving back. Like if Protoss has 6 or 7 gates and you went for fast armory, like you're intending to take a third base, you cannot just go in the center of the map and push against Protoss.
And right now he's going up to 6 factory, and I think that's a really big mistake right now. He has no timing window to hit anymore. He's not going to be able to punish this third base at all. He should be getting his command center instead of adding these factories, because
Unless he's just gonna go like puppy killer style, 8 fac all in.
yeah, but if he was going for the 8 fac, it should have been started a little bit sooner, I feel like. Although the 8 fac is definitely a great build. It's the best terrible build that I've ever seen.
It works. I mean, if you fuck up your control as Protoss, you're just like not expecting that kind of flood of units. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah. One thing I do want to note is that I don't like how Fat Reaver did not keep an obs on top of the factories to keep the check of the count. Then he would have been playing a lot more cognizant.
Protoss has zealots in this shuttle, which he does. This is
wrecked, yeah. Yeah, and Makami says that you don't know the map. Honestly, this has nothing to do with the map, really. It's more of a strategic choice that you're making a mistake here.
Oh, and Protoss is attacking from the high ground. This
no siege mode. This is a wrap.
Siege up now. He's got to like sort of run back, but it's like he almost can't even run now.
Yeah, yeah. Place the zealots behind it. Wow, this was a slaughter. Yeah, this isn't really a map issue. It's more of the conceptual problem that you had here. You decided to go for a push when you had no window to push in. That's pretty much the mistake here. But somehow, is this really going to get cleared up?
He's gonna hold. He's gonna hold.
How is that possible? That's nuts. Oh, I mean, I guess 6 fac against 6 gate units, it's going to hold, but his third base is so incredibly late now that I don't think it's even worth it.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in a rough spot. Does he have a third CC even? No.
No, he didn't even start it. And Protoss right now, his macro is slipping a little bit as well. Not in the sense of producing units, but he could be on way more gateways right now. He could throw down about 4 or 5 gateways, I feel like, right now and be still perfectly happy. He's also late on his tech as well. No Stargate despite having a Templar Archives. Although I have recently seen people go for a Templar-centric composition instead of Arbiter-centric, but
Interesting.
yeah, this push is really pushing it. Like he's like, oh, I held. I'm gonna move out.
Yeah, now I think he just knows he has to try to kill Protoss because it's too late to take a third CC. So I think he's just trying to kill Protoss.
No, I think third CC would have been his best option anyway, because this was just a suicidal attempt. He just threw away whatever units he managed to save in that engagement. Like he needed the third CC and maybe try to sneak a fourth one if he was lucky, I guess, or do some vulture harass. That could have been a good option here as well, while securing your third base. We do see a starport out. Yeah, see, like if he threw down an add-on, got the command center, sieged up on his high ground, and then got his +2 and secured his base and started doing some harass, that I think would have been the best series of decisions that he could have made. But as it is now, I mean, he barely held a push that wasn't supposed to happen, and then he threw away the rest of the army. It was just like 3 bad decisions back to back, I feel like.
Yeah, we'll see. He's going to keep trying to make it happen. Although Protoss is winning these battles pretty handily, and his army should just be continuing to grow. And oh man, these tanks are way not. This is a dicey siege. We'll see. There are zealots in the shuttle. Okay, Protoss doesn't want to go in, which is smart. Terran's already sieged up.
Yeah, not just that. He has a very low zealot count on the ground. It would be a massive loss of what's called dragoons for him, even if he does win the engagement. So
yeah, he had like what, 3 zealots on the ground.
Yeah, good choice here. And Fat Reaver hit that magical number of dragoons now. He's at 24 dragoons. So right now we should be seeing pure zealot production, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of him right now. Pure zealot production out of all gateways. He's adding gateways, still a little bit slower than I would have liked to see, but at least the Stargate's finally up now, so he can start his Arbiter tech, getting his 4th base, and finally Mekami takes his 3rd base. And like, all right, so let's just talk about theory here. Mekami saying, I didn't know the map or whatever. How is this situation that he's in right now any different from the position he was in like 5 minutes ago when he first tried to push. He has pretty much the same army and composition before he pushed out. That command center could have been finishing then, as opposed to now. You know, instead, all he's done is made Protoss has a bigger army now. Protoss is more ahead in tech. Protoss is getting a 4th base. So now you're oh, he's saying he didn't even know where the 3rd base was. Oh, come on, man. You have to prepare a little bit more. You have to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I only have, I guess I have 1.5 things to say about that. Like, number one is, you know, I would have think that if you're going to play, you know, if you're in the league, I would think you'd at least want to look at the maps to know what they look like. But even if you don't, you know, like if you're putting down an armory, which pretty much already says at that point your game plan is 3rd base, like you still want to follow through on that game plan. So if you don't know where the 3rd base is, like start building the command center in your main, and
it's got to be close.
Just like it's, you know, it's not going to be on the other side of the map. So I mean, I do understand that playing on an unfamiliar map is hard and can really throw off your game, but the decision to just totally scrap taking a 3rd and go for mass facts
when there was no timing window whatsoever.
Like even just taking a late 3rd would have been better than doing a relatively suicidal 2-base push when you'd already invested a bunch of stuff into late game tech.
Yep, agreed. And on top of that, there's always map preview when the game first starts also that you could look at. Or you could ask your opponent, yo, give me a minute, let me look at this map. And I've had that happen before. You know, when loser picks map in a series play, they're like, wait, let me check this map out real quick. So we're seeing another push. Terran's trying to make his way up to the high ground where he's going to fight on even footing, but he's not going to make it all the way there. Zealots are running in on the side. And Protoss actually, I mean, Terran's actually doing a decent job here.
Yeah, yeah, this is well controlled. Protoss just has a lot of shit, and Protoss is a little bit more on the high ground.
Yeah. I don't think Siege Tank Fire cares. I think you get splash damage even if you miss the shot. You still get the splash damage. So that engagement went about as well for Terran as I imagined it would have. You know, and one thing I have to note again is if you look at Fat Reaver, he has 52 probes on 4 bases again, whereas Mechami now is at 57 on 3 bases. I'm definitely liking the economy out of Mechami a little bit better. And the way that he's been macroing up in general a little bit better than Fat Reaver. Fat Reaver definitely falling a little bit behind. And he's still only on 8 gateways. I mean, actually, no, never mind. I'm lying. He added another. Yeah, he's making a swastika in his 4th base. This is that. Yeah, this is that German macro.
He's just trying to let us all know that he really loves Sniper Ridge, and he's not happy it's not in the map pool.
And meanwhile, Mekami's macro, the tilted T, he's made a lowercase t of factories like this. I wonder what this stands for. It's like the Holy Cross, but like tilted, I guess. Holy Roman Empire versus...
blessed tanks of Mekami shall smite thy Protoss foe.
And, alright, so let's look at this position now, right? Despite the fact that Mekami got his 3rd ridiculously late and with absolutely no reason, right? It's a 4-base Protoss with Arbiter Tech not even finished yet. We have a science facility, we have a starport, we have the 3rd gas up, and it is being mined. But there is only 2,000 gas in that one, should be noted. And the supplies are relatively even. I mean, Mekami with about 10 more SCVs, and Fat Reaver therefore having a slightly bigger army than it appears. But the supplies are relatively even. This is a good position for Terran, I feel like. Terran can win from this position. So I wouldn't say that any of the early game mistakes have really left Terran in a bad position. And
I wouldn't go so far as to say good, but I would say it isn't disastrous. Like if I were playing Protoss right now, I would feel comfortable. I wouldn't feel like, oh, this game's gonna be fucking easy, but I would feel comfortable. I've got gates in the 2nd base. I've got close on arbiters. I've got 2 forges. I've got a good solid army. So you know, I would say it's okay for Terran.
Yeah, I would say it's 55-45 at worst for Terran right now. I mean, if he had EMP and Vessel right now, then I'd be even more happy with the position right now. But in general, this is really not bad. I mean, I also want him to defend his 3rd at least a little bit more. You know, lay some mines outside the 3rd.
He's completely vulnerable right now. Like for Zealots.
This push is going to determine everything, I feel like. Kind of
it's gonna go okay for Terran, I think.
Well, I mean, he sieged up kind of late, and he's... Oh, wait, actually, all these Dragoons being sacrificed. Oh my god, this is gonna go disastrously for Protoss now.
I called it.
Yeah, you did. No, I thought I was kind of worried for a minute when he sieged up when the Zealots were right on top of him. It was like a late siege. There was no reason for him to siege up that late. But he won that engagement straight up, so I feel like now he needs to continue his push. Right now...
Yeah, now it can get bad for Protoss.
Yeah. right now he needs to rally his factories, pump heavy, and just push up into this high ground right here. Because once you're up on this high ground, where the vultures are right now, that's when it becomes really dicey for Protoss. And Protoss did the smart thing, did keep a few units behind. And oh, he made DTs. This might hurt. Let's see, siege up on this high ground, please. Siege you. Siege. Don't get greedy. Just start sieging now. Okay. So this is a mistake right here. I feel like he's pretty much leaving this ramp kind of available for Protoss to come up and flank him. I would have loved to see him, you know, do the leapfrog almost, where like as the Terrans are, as the tanks are moving forward, you siege 2 up like right at the ramp. Then they move a little bit further forward, you siege another 2 up. You siege another 2 up. You know that way you defend your backside while pushing up as well. You're not really gaining much from having a control group of unsieged tanks getting all the way deep into Protoss base right now, especially considering he has flank gates on the top right. Both players' macro also sleeping a little bit, but Mekami, look at the supply difference. He's in a great position, I feel like.
If this push does something, but if it gets cleaned up, then we're back into the position where he's starting to mine out, and Protoss has a 4th base. But he should at least kill the natural.
Dude, this is actually
if he sieges up and sends 2 tanks to the 3rd.
What is he doing? Where's he going?
He's out of scans. He's out of scans or something.
Oh my god.
Out of scans?
Yeah, didn't I just say that he needed a 3rd scanner? Didn't I just say that he needed Vessel with EMP? He's just now starting Vessel and EMP. Wow,
that totally makes him turn and run.
Oh my god, that's so terrible. I mean, he has vultures with mines. He can use those to Mekami had not the game in the bag, but that game turned around from what we said was, you know, about 55-45 to I think a quick 75-25, real quick, or like 70-30, as soon as he stepped up onto that high ground. But because he's out of scan, because he has no vessel when he should have had vessel for a while, he just messed up. I mean, he lost the initiative.
Yeah, and he's had the starport for a long time, so it's a little bit unfortunate there wasn't a vessel there with his.
Yeah, and look, and I think he just tilted right now. He has 3,400 minerals. Like, he completely dropped the ball here.
I can see that all of a sudden you're feeling good, and all of a sudden you got like DTs, and you're just like, oh fuck. Like,
yeah, he's not macroing now. He's just desperate. 1828. He's really just not macroing. He's going up to 4,000 minerals now. But yeah, he bothered to throw down the 3rd comstat at least. He is laying mines back here, which is good for him.
And Protoss seems to sense that this is working out because he's building a fuck ton of DTs.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Every gateway is a DT. Oh my god. Oh, at least he's got at least 1 scan. Does he have more scans? Oh, he built a 3rd. Okay, he'll be fine from the DTs. So he's actually going to shut down this, probably shut down this 4th base. Oh, 1 DT slipping onto the tanks. That's so frustrating. Oh my god. Oh no, 3 DTs. Holy
4
shit.
DT, there's a shitload. No, that's a wrap.
There's too many of them. They slipped in.
And look at the supply difference turnaround real quick right there. I mean, it was 140 to 90, and now it's 127 to 107, just like on a flip of a switch, you know.
Here's the science vessel, but these are some pretty clutch holds from Protoss. Like, this is another point. Like, Protoss almost lost the game. He loses his 3rd base. Mekami's way ahead. But now it looks like he'll probably.
You know what I would have liked to see from Mekami here? Instead of losing his head for a moment and, you know, going for this desperate push with still no vessel included, I would have liked to see him try to get that 4th base up. I mean, he has the SCV there. He was already thinking about it. But if you put yourself in the Protoss shoes for a second, there's no way that Protoss is thinking about where your 4th is during this situation, or at least at our level. There's no way Protoss is looking for your 4th base in this situation. This is when you try to get a little bit ahead. When you're pushing is when you expand. And if we look at it,
and it can be ridiculously good at these levels because you're just like, oh my god, I'm fucking getting attacked. Focus.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, shit, Terran took 3 bases and I had a giant army and I could have sent 1 zealot to each one and now I'm behind. Shit.
Yep. That happened to me just earlier today, actually. Well, actually, yeah, yesterday, but still, it happened to me yesterday. You know.
How often do you beat me that way? How often do you beat me that way in PvP?
Yeah, true. No, I do a combination of the 2 tactics. The one that I mentioned earlier, the one where I was like, oh, I didn't macro make a nexus, and then the oh, I'm gonna send this shuttle and make a nexus, or I'm gonna poke with this army and make a nexus, even if I don't need to even do any damage. No, so it's viable at least until sea level. Let's say it that way. But now Mekami is again in a pickle. I mean, he has a great economy. Something I have to give props to Mekami for. I mean, his upgrades
his economy's starting to run out of juice right now, though. He's only on his 3rd base to mine. But if you mean like SCV production and stuff, yeah, he's done a good job with that.
Yeah, and Fat Reaver's still on the same 52 probes from earlier in the game. You know, I mean, I guess it's going to work out in the long run considering he's already mined out of his 3rd base and his main. So, like, now those probes are... Well, then again, he only has 5 in his 4th base, I guess. So, not doing the best. And Mekami just now starts the command center. See, how much easier is it for Protoss to kill this command center now than it was when you were pushing him? You know, that's just.
And more importantly, how much easier is it to notice right now?
I mean,
That's the other place too, where mines can help a lot. Like if you look at this position right now, you know, if Protoss just sends 3 zealots, it shuts down the base. If there's a lot of mines on the map, Protoss, like, you know, is in a hurry, sends 3 zealots, they blow up to mines, and then Protoss looks back and he's like, oh, the command center's still mining. Crap.
so yeah, Mechami officially down to 1 base. Fat Reaver on little more than that. Fat Reaver would make the best boss ever.
I don't really understand what he means. Like final boss, like video game
Spurlo
boss.
to
or,
his
like,
workers
work
never
boss?
replaces them.
Oh.
No, but he's also overworking them. You know what I mean? He never expands the workforce despite the increasing demands of the corporation. You know what I mean?
He's got one worker that sacrificed him with the army. He just picked him out of the field. He's like, "You're in the army, bro. Let's go." Ooh, nice little EMP there.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And that is a great position. He managed to get a great siege off here. This is a good spot to be.
Yeah, he needs to start leapfrogging now, I think, though, trying to cross this
definitely.
divide. And or either leapfrog or send some vultures to start fucking around with the 4th base. I mean, he did throw down cannons, but there's only 5 probes here. And actually, is he gonna come up here and engage these vultures?
Oh, this is a ridiculously bad engagement from Protoss on the surface.
Yeah.
We'll see if he's got any good stasis.
Nice EMP.
Nice EMP. Really good EMP.
DT's not doing much because of the vessel dip being there.
Right.
And it's
Templar
purely
needs to get
dragoons.
taken out though. But are there enough tanks? It is down to just dragoons. But he does get the storm off, and oh, a DT is slipping in unnoticed somehow still, even with the vessel. And
Yeah.
I think there's just a little too much Protoss.
Yeah. I think what was really lacking there
Weird that Protoss won that.
Yeah.
Maybe he just had a bigger army than I thought he did, but that was kind of surprising.
well, again,
Like, Mechami
go ahead.
right in that fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say that again. Mechami is 20 supply and SCVs ahead. That's one thing to consider. And second of all, he had 2,000 minerals in the bank. No macro, no rally. If the units that
Yeah, reinforcements would have helped a ton. Like vultures coming up, that would have been a big deal. And maybe there weren't enough mines at the start. I wasn't quite looking, but I've noticed in most of these games there seems to be a bit of a lack of mines.
yeah, and also at the very beginning of the engagement, all the vultures were on the low ground. If they had been parked on the high ground, that would have been a lot better.
Oh, does he see it? I think he does. Yes, he sees it. He's running away. Nice reaction from Mechami at the 4th base. Only going to lose 0. He's going to lose 0 SCVs these Templar.
And at the same time, he's gonna harass the probe line of the 5th base.
Games
But
are over there, so you probably just get like 1 kill. Now we'll
Yeah.
see if he can redirect for these Templar.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Swing around with the shuttle.
What about army? Okay, that's. I think I mean I didn't really notice where the siege tanks were shooting at, but I don't think the dragoons were in range of the siege tanks for a little bit there because they were shooting at the vultures, which I already said were a little bit too far forward at starting out. The siege tanks later on, they didn't seem to be shooting at zealots, mostly because there wasn't that many zealots left. But in general, yes, thank you for bringing that up, Kramunch, aka Fat Warts. Mechami, I'm pretty sure I told you this as well, but siege tanks should be targeting dragoons when you're in an engagement of that nature.
Yep. That way you are not basically not shooting down your own vultures to zealots.
And
They're pretty mixed up.
yeah, Mechami is a little slow to send the SCVs back. I mean, he sent back, it looks like 12 of them, but he still has about 12 of them on his main gas, which is not really helping him at this moment. I like this mine spread right here now, though. This is what he should have been doing for a long time during this game. I feel like he's only doing it now that he's desperate. He's doing it. He doesn't have enough
Good,
siege
though.
tanks. Yeah. No, it's good. No, but I'm saying that this is what he should have been doing for a while now.
Yeah,
If-
I agree.
And imagine if he had been doing that with the 4th base expansion that would have been during his push. Like, that would have been just icing on the cake. That would have put him miles ahead of Fat Reaver in this situation. And, I mean, we have to give credit where credit is due. He averted a crisis with the Templar, and he's still at 70 SCVs against 48 probes, so he's still in a decent position. He needs to really make sure that he doesn't lose this base, though, and he doesn't seem to be in a good position of doing that. He is going to start reinforcing now, but the vultures are going to go...
sort of. Oh, these vultures probably need to be with the tanks. Oh wait, never mind. There's a path to travel. Okay, I didn't know the map for a second.
Yeah. All right. So one thing I want to point out right away is, like, if it hadn't been for these mines, Mechami would have lost that base. That's these mines slowed down.
Illustrate the value of mines.
Yep. The mines told him that an attack was coming. The mines prevented the attack from arriving as fast, but the siege tanks, they're not going to siege up in time. Oh, he's moving forward with it.
Good.
Oh no.
Devastating siege. GG.
Oh god. Yeah, he needed to run back.
Gotta be.
Oh! Woo! Dude, that no GG.
I still think he could have held that. Like, honestly, if he would have just pulled those tanks back and spread them on the
Mhm.
high ground and then hit O, I
Yeah.
think he could have held, especially with reinforcements.
Hmm.
So that was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, and also if he had done that, earlier, like when he first knew that the push was coming, instead of sitting on the low ground, which is where you don't want to be anyway, and not sieging up, which is something you don't want to do either, he could have just, gone up on the high ground and be like, yo, I'm just going to be content sitting here and controlling this half the map. I'm going to split the map with the Protoss, which is
Yeah.
kind of what you want to do. And considering that that bottom left corner was completely untouched, plenty of resources there, I would have been super happy as Terran to just split the map right then and there and use the reinforcements from my factory to hold the other side of the map. I think that would have been an ideal late game position for Terran in this case, considering that Protoss's half of the map has been mined for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
so
I don't like.
go ahead.
I don't know if that was a frustration thing or just a panic thing or what, but obviously sieging clumped below a Protoss army with Storm on top of you is just, it's not going to end pretty.
Hmm. Absolutely. Alright, so let's talk about broad strokes of this game, or at least like key moments and such. So for Protoss, again, definitely a concrete game plan, cognizant of the map, use the terrain of the map pretty well in multiple situations. Again, just lacking on the, the fine polishing, like the macro was a little bit off, probe production was a little bit low, was called Arbiter was kind of late. But I like the fact that he recognized that a push was coming, so he got speed, he got a shuttle with zealots in it, he added gateways, and he was ready for the push when it came out. So even though it was a dumb push to do, he was ready for it. So I definitely like that play from Arc Times. Do you have anything to add about that?
I would just say I'd like to see all else equal, probably the arbiters coming out a little bit faster, and then once you like beat back that push, there's probably no reason you couldn't have been taking the fifth and sixth over there as well. You'd already
Hmm.
added gateways, you already had bases running. Like you've got 2K minerals. You might as well take the additional XI.
Hmm. And I feel like the battle that he lost, um, like it wasn't a terrible engage from him. It was just an overcommittal at the end of it.
Yeah,
You never want to overcommit with your dragoons in that nature, and that's what kind of put him in a pickle in the first place. And the only thing that saved him was a lack of scan from the Terran. He was
yeah.
pretty much dead to rights at a moment when the push was in his natural. So overall, I'm gonna give Arc Times another B minus for another relatively solid game. Now let's talk about. Wait, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, now I have to type it in again. I'm sorry. So let's. Yeah, you don't see what I'm talking about, so
It's a mystery.
yeah,
I just get to guess.
yeah.
He typed in his bank account and password.
So let's talk about Mechami for a minute. I mean, I feel like the major issue we already discussed is the fact that he chose to go for a push instead of a third base, and it doesn't matter what map you're playing on, the push made no sense. You should know, like, oh shit, like, even though I don't know this map, it's time to find that third base instead of doing a push that makes no sense. I feel like that's pretty self-evident.
Yeah, if you're calm and thinking strategically, I think even if you're like, oh fuck, where's my third? I think it still should make sense that it's a better decision to delay your third by 30 seconds and send a vulture or SCV or whatever to find it
Hmm.
than it is to just totally switch into a different strategy, especially once you already haven't immediately thrown down 5 or 6 facts and you've added an armory and some other investments.
Hmm. And especially, I mean, if yeah, well, that pretty much covers it. Everything after that, I really liked it, but it was similar issue to Arc Times. Just drop the ball on a few key things, which is like having the third scan, having at least some sort of protection for your third base, not taking your fourth base during your push, delaying the vessels by a little bit. Like, those little incremental things is what really shifted a potential W into an L at a certain point in the game. So overall, I would have to say that that's a C plus for Mekami. Issue almost a B minus. I say that he played pretty much equal to Arc Times in that situation. Just the crucial conceptual mistake of pushing when he
Yeah,
didn't need to push.
the other thing that I'm sorry, I think it did cost him a lot is that point over at the fourth base. Right when those DTs popped out, as you highlighted, he went up to 3K minerals there and probably had a solid
Hmm.
45 seconds with nothing in the factories. If there would have been a reinforcement or vultures or there or two, with that vessel arriving, those would have been around the tanks, and
Hmm.
those extra two, like the first 6 or 7 DTs died, but he had like 2 or 3 more that he made, and those were what actually made the difference. Had there been a reinforcement or two of vultures, that very well may have killed those DTs and that fourth base gone down and handed Mekami the game. So that also.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And like I said, that was, I don't know if that was a panic thing or if that was like a tilt thing or what, but especially if it was a tilt thing,
Hmm.
that game was still winnable. And if that was a macro, like a fuck Protoss, I'm just not macroing kind of moment,
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like
I
he.
won't say 100%, but
I might be biased because I know Mekami's character a little bit, so I'm gonna say that
yeah,
tilt is very likely, because Mekami seems like a tilt Terran, you know what I mean? That's what he does. He loses a game like that, doesn't GG, then goes on Discord and says that Protoss is bullshit, when I feel like most of the issues that he had in that game were completely within his power.
yeah. And I mean, some people are just like frustrated afterwards, but then some people, and you never know the mindset. But I would just say if Mekami's still listening, if you think that was a mindset thing, that's just something to think about for the future.
Hmm.
Because honestly, if that is part of what caused that macro thing, that may well have cost you the game rather than just staying focused on whatever.
Hmm. All right, well, let's go into our last game of the night. It's oh, do you have time?
Yeah, we
All
got
right,
one more. As
all
long
right.
as it's not like an hour and a half game.
Well, hopefully, because it's a TVT and it's Diarrhea Terran against Stardom in the game three, no less. So let's get right into it. Oh, I got kicked off of IC Cup.
Does he have another AKA?
Hmm? That
Does Diarrhea Terran have another game or another
AK.
name, or is that just AKA?
Well, he hasn't played on IC Cup in like years. He's a recent sign up, you know. I mean, he came back because of the remaster, but he used to play like a long time ago, but his account expired or something like that. So I'm like, yo, you have to make a new account for this league. He's like, okay, I got you, fam. And then he made Diarrhea Terran. I was like, okay, all right, I can't say no, you know.
I won't judge your name, I guess.
Yeah, but
Who am I to
that seems to
judge?
be in his style because on Discord his name is Fat Warts. So if you replace the first two letters, I mean, yep. All right. So anyway, game three is on
Oh,
Circuit Breaker. Fet Warts, Fetwarts. Um, game three is on Circuit Breaker, TVT. Bottom right we have Stardom EMG, the red Terran, and bottom left in the brown we have Diarrhea Terran. It's too perfect. Okay.
Evil Eye oh, I see what Evil Eye is doing.
All right. Well, so I don't really know too much about TVT. I'll mostly be able to say when something is clearly wrong or clearly good. But I'm interested to see what happens here. Stardom, known as the everyone's favorite 100 APM Terran. Pretty strong player. He got up to C minus. He's a, I would say a cerebral player. Like you have to play
he,
smart with 100 APM.
he and Evil Eye are the two low APM league gods.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Diarrhea Terran, he's also a recent addition. He's from the Foreign Brood War Discord. Pretty solid player from what I've heard. I mean, he's obviously taken a game off Stardom if they're in game three, so pretty interesting to know. And both players are opening with mirror builds. Looks like, yep, pretty much exactly the same.
I just dawned on me, Diarrhea Terran totally spawned as the brown Terran.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing at the start. I was like, yo, it's too perfect. So Stardom scouting after gas, which is decent scouting timing. I like to see that they're not, neither of them are early scouting. There's pretty much nothing, like even BBS is not really that good against Terran unless Terran is going for 14 CC. So it's a good thing that both players are delaying their scout, not being too paranoid. And ooh, if Diarrhea Terran caught that, that would have been slick, but I don't think he did. Unfortunately, he missed it. Diarrhea Terran definitely had an opportunity to scout in the correct direction after that. And he's making a Marine. Red is not making a Marine. I don't think he feels like he doesn't need it, but his factory is a little bit late. Where's the factory here? No, factories are about the same time, a little bit late on the gas.
Stardom is gonna lose the SV.
Yeah, that was great micro from Diarrhea there. I liked it a lot. Walking around chasing the SCV, making sure that the Marine's always in range before he stops to shoot. Because sometimes Marines, like, they'll pick up their gun and be like, nah, never mind, I'm too far. I'm gonna walk a little bit further, and in that time the SCV gets away. And let's see, yeah, Diarrhea. One thing that he did badly in that situation is he missed his second depot timing, which Stardom did not miss, and thus is going to be slightly ahead. He is going up to 2-fac now, interestingly enough. Yeah, Kermunch said I got supply block for it, that's correct. So, see, in this case, though, you could just throw down a command center because you got supply block, and it looks like that's exactly what he's... is he? Yeah. This is the... I macro poorly into command center. which will actually, I think this will actually work. I mean, you might get contained, 2 fac against 1 fac, but it's not something, it's not tragic. And making a vulture first, I like this decision. You get to find out what the enemy's doing at a more precise rate, especially considering the fact that he still hasn't scouted Stardom. His SCV has taken forever to get there.
Stardom's playing 2-fac. That's still dangerous. Perhaps not quite as dangerous as it is in TVP, PVT.
Yeah.
But
oh, but he's going 2 fac
it
mines
could be
though.
worse than being contained. Oh, is he? Okay, that's
Yeah,
a little different.
Yeah, he's not gonna get contained by siege tanks or pummeled on before siege tank is up.
Although this depends on how he plays. Like if he keeps making vultures, then he could be in trouble if he's not positioned intelligently, because obviously there's just going to be more vultures for Stardom.
Yeah.
And if he makes tanks, then he just has to be careful again that the positioning is right, because
Yeah.
while a tank will take care of vultures, if the tank is out of position and he runs 4 vultures into the main, he'll take a lot of damage.
I would like to see a bunker at this point from Diarrhea Terran. If he saw, I mean, he saw that there's a vulture and 2 marines on the ramp, so he can't really get much information out of that. And I like the fact that Stardom is hiding the rally point for his other factory, not revealing how many vultures
nice.
he has. Yeah, great idea here. And Diarrhea Terran's going up. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said if he goes up to the ramp, he'll only see the 2. Yeah.
And Diarrhea Terran is actually going up to 2 factories himself, but it's a little bit late. He is getting a siege tank though, and I still would have liked to seen a bunker at this point. I mean, if he was clairvoyant, I would have liked to seen a bunker. But Stardom,
We'll have to see how the control is here.
yeah, this is getting dangerous now. SCVs are pulled. Bunker, no, depot is being made.
Good
Marines
reaction, right
Yeah.
to the ramp.
I would like to receive repair on that vulture, or at least on this siege tank right now. That would be good decision making here.
Yeah, it looks like he's just fighting, but he is on the ramp, so that's
Yeah.
making this tank extra insanely strong.
Yeah, I would like to see the SCVs get pulled. Yeah, alright, so he's repairing the tank, and the SCVs do get pulled a little bit later. I would have liked to see them engage.
He actually pulled the SCVs into the mineral line, though, and lost a
Yeah.
few more than he needs to.
Yeah, he went way too far with them. Absolutely.
So he took quite a bit of damage from that.
Oh my god, he took so much
a
damage.
huge damage.
Yeah, he's at 9 SCVs against 25. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And-
and while he has that command center up, Stardom is going to probably have his almost done by the time all this settles out.
And mines just finished, so mines are going to be a huge pain in the ass for him right now. Even with the pom-poms, I don't think 2 tanks is enough to pom-pom perfectly, but he does do a good job of not absolutely dying to them. Oh, no! No! Okay. He needs to repair that immediately now. Oh, now that became a lot dicier for him now. This is going to be danger for him. Stardom doing a great job here keeping the Terran contained with the mines. Making the 2-fac vulture definitely worth it. And these SCVs being produced. And the worst part is he has absolutely no detection. He went for armory instead of academy or engineering bay or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and he has an idle SCV at the bottom right, actually, and 2 behind his command center. When you're already so low on SCVs, you have to be mining minerals with each and every one of them, I feel like. And Stardom going up to 4 factories now. He has his own armory up. Absolutely no need to build any anti-air or anything, I feel like. I think he knows how much damage he did and continues to do. Oh my god, this tank is being mad adventurous right now. I would piss myself trying to move out like that.
Adventurous.
Yeah. You know what? I forgot that he already moved away his barracks. So use the Minesweeper Marine trick, where like you have a vulture and then you defuse with a Marine because the Marine walks triggers the mine. The vulture one-shots the mine. It's always a neat little trick to see.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Nice. Oh shit! Oh, it's alive. It's alive.
Oh my god, he was down. No. Oh my god.
What is it doing? Oh, it must be clicked onto a vulture. No,
No, dude,
shit.
no! Yo!
Alright, well, I don't really see.
Oh my god. Vulture's like, alright, I'm done here.
Terran
And no, Vulture's like, oh. Terran's like, oh, another pickup, another siege tank pickup. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the reason this was sent in probably was the great play from Stardom here. Honestly, took a build advantage, took a slight build advantage, and made the most out of it. Now we have Goliath in the mix, and this army is now completely massive.
There's no chance to defend here.
Oh, now there's absolutely 0 chance. He just stepped right into the mine. Oh my god, let's see this.
I wonder if he was just over adventurous, or if he just really thought he cleared all the mines and kept.
Oh my
the fact
god.
that there were more mines. Whoa, felt like it was 4 mines, but somehow only
Yeah.
one went off because the tank didn't die.
Yeah, it's because sometimes they die before they burrow from the splash damage of the other mine. Like,
Oh shit! Duh. Yeah. Good call.
and sometimes they what's called, yeah, GG. Sometimes they explode from the splash damage, um, before they enter, before, like, so like they're like heat-seeking missiles, right? So when one mine dies, when it was the first one to contact the siege tank, for example, when it explodes, it forces the other to explode wherever it enters the circle of the first area of effect. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
as the mines are further and further away, they do less and less damage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice. So what to say about that one? I don't know. I guess part of the mistake was like not evacuating the natural as soon as those vultures showed up. You know,
Hmm.
once he saw, especially as barracks got there in time to see like vultures rolling out. And if you see 4 vultures, you know it's got to be 2 fact. So
Hmm.
like if he would have just evacuated the natural and hung out on his ramp,
Yeah.
eh,
There was definitely a dearth of hold position in that game as well.
yeah, there's
And
some difficulties there.
yeah, and also sending the well, first of all, missed the depot, right? So that forced them to be behind. So he made a macro fail command center, and the macro fail command center made him weaker to a 2 factory push. So pretty much it was again the little mistakes that he made that made him super vulnerable to this 2 fact vulture mine situation. I do have to give a lot of props to Stardom though for what's called for hiding the vultures. You know, having the foresight to hide the vultures.
That was nicely done.
Yeah, good micro from as well. Great magic box mine laying. But yeah, Diary of Terran I feel like just lacked hold position, micro, and I think he kind of panicked. I mean, when he just started getting, you know, to put it nicely, bodied like that. I feel like if he had pulled the STVs earlier, he could have used them to, even if he lost a bunch, he should know that he has a faster command center. He'd be able to block off the vultures from reaching his siege tank. He could have been repairing his vulture and his siege tank, you know. So overall, I feel like he just kind of dropped the ball on that one. I'm gonna give him a D for that game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
And for Stardom, I'm gonna have to give him at least a B. I mean, it's really hard to determine from that game, but I can't really find any faults with it. But it wasn't really, he didn't really have that much of an opportunity to do anything incredible either. So actually, I'm just gonna give him a B plus for it, because no mistakes, overall solid. You know,
Damn, son, you a hard grader.
I know. Well, I mean, if he had gone into a macro game, and then I would have had more to grade on. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna give 3 points just because he killed the person too quick.
D's for diarrhea. This guy's got a sense of humor. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
I loved it when we were doing the commentary, right? I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to find out how well he holds this because the micro, if his micro is
Oh,
good," and he's like, "It's not good."
how well he holds this.
Yeah. All right. Well, so anyway, guys, that's the cast for week 3 and week 4. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for who sent in your reps. Had a great time casting them, and thank you, Elmaster, for joining us. Any shout outs, any comments you want to give?
That's for weeks 3 and 4, but there might be some more casts from weeks 3 and 4. I might be casting some more on tomorrow or Monday, Sunday or Monday. So
Mm-hmm.
stay tuned. I'll post about it if I do.
Cool. Awesome. Um, what else? Yeah, I think that's just about it.